from a pseudo killer, so to speak, right? A lot of times I learn from audience members or from a guest that comes on the panel. You know what I'm saying? So let's just be smooth, and we're not geniuses. Not a one of us is a genius on this panel.
Not at all.
So let's keep it in that realm. You see what I'm saying? So clarity. That's all we're trying to do is get clarity. You know, this is we're not signing up to be on a for a job or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's no need to compete with each other, because this is not an interview. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna win a trophy in the end. You know what I'm saying? None of that. Like nobody's winning the trip to Montego Bay.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I'm saying? So what we gonna do? We just gonna calm it down. We can stick to our points, and we can say so. The conversation. Did you hit the button? It's live right now.
Yeah, we live, man. We in there.
Well, we're gonna kick it off. We're gonna kick it off in a second. Let me see who all in here, man.
All right, let them get in there, man.
Hey, hold on. I just want to say something before y'all even get started. Go ahead, Cory, and check everything out.
Go ahead. You want to say
when
something?
I was saying, you want to hear my background, Philly. But
that ain't no problem. Go ahead.
When I was telling you, there's so little. Everybody knows this. There's so little representation of Black people in science, and I was telling you the reason why. Of course, it is not elected toward science. You're not going to find us there. Black people are not academically confident. I don't know why that's interpreted as, oh, you blinding Black people, instead of, oh, that's the truth. When the last time you saw a Black person say, "Ah, bust your ass," and it was a math problem or some shit? The fuck you ever seen that type of shit? But you hear that shit when it comes to fighting, like boxing, when it comes to basketball, when it comes to making music. You hear it. But you don't hear it when it comes to academics. We all know this. Why are people trying to say, well, we have to but I'm just stating facts about us. It's a fact. That's the state that we're at right now. So when I was on with CK the last time, I was saying this, and then she said that we were misrepresented. There was more of us in there, but they're not representing us. That's when the conversation went on in the direction that it had. It's because people don't like those facts. It is not a conspiracy why Black people are not represented in science. It's because you don't have that many. It's not a conspiracy why Black people are overrepresented in sports. It's because that's what we dominate. That was the point I was trying to make.
Right, and that's a good point, right? And like I said, it goes to the value system, right? And a value system is based on culture. Your culture tells you what's valuable, right? It defines what's value, right? Or what you hold valuable, right? So basketball is a part of the Black culture, right?
Yeah,
having
sports,
a good
music, entertainment.
Sports, music, and entertainment is a part of the Black culture, right? So culture, like I said, again, it defines who you are, right? And so, of course, if that's a part of our culture, right?
Cory, let me cut in. It's a part of our cultural value. It's part of what our culture values. It's not a part of our culture necessarily. It's part of what our culture values.
Well, like I said, culture is what you value, right? So I'd say basketball is an African American culture, right?
So
that'd be fair. That'd be fair.
Okay, so it's would you say that science is a white American culture?
No, because the thing is, right? And again, if you look at United States, X, right? The United States is pseudo and not non-scientific, right? Again, the United States of America. If you take the average American, I don't give a fuck what color his skin is. I don't care which way he comb his hair. I don't care what way he or she sits on the toilet stool, or none of that shit, right? I'm saying the average person in America is not scientific. The average person does not know, does not think scientifically, right? The average person in America is ignorant when it comes to most of the scientific disciplines.
Mhm.
So it's like that across the board in the United States, right? Now, again, we talked about the numbers on the other show, right? You got 400 million people, and over 75% of them are white people. So if you look at that and then you say, oh, well, science is a white culture because more of them dominate in the scientific field, right? That would be dishonest, right? The average amount of people in the scientific field represents the population. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that?
No, I didn't know that.
But what about when we consider
the scientific
Cory?
field? Listen,
Cory,
hold on. I'm going to make a statement and then I'm done. The scientific field, the way it looks in the scientific field, is the way the population looks in America. So it's average. Everybody does average, and the average American is pseudo and don't know shit about the actual scientific disciplines. But go ahead, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, you got the controls. You look, y'all, I'm out, man. Y'all can finish rocking. Go ahead, do your thing.
Yeah, Cory, I disagree with you comprehensively.
Don't talk over me.
Don't you think you like?
On what point?
No. I'm saying I'm out. Y'all rocking. Go for it. Just don't
Peace,
talk over
I
me,
appreciate you firing it up for us, man.
Oh, come on, man. You know how we do, man. This is Pseudo Killas, man. Everybody got a voice here, bro. You know what we do.
You got it.
First, I'm gonna tell you, Cory. I think the last statement you made was that the way America is, diversity found in science.
I'm having a hard time. I can't. You gotta speak up a little bit. I can't.
I think you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you said the diversity that you find in America is the same diversity that you find in science.
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When it comes to scientific accomplishments, is that diversity still the same?
So scientific accomplishments is a little cloudy, and I know what you want me to, and I'm gonna try to answer your question first, and then I'm gonna qualify it, right? So fine. As far as scientific accomplishments, white people are gonna dominate in that field, right? First of all, because of the numbers, right? But I want you to know that.
Hold on, time out. Before you finish, Cory, you said because of the numbers, white people are a minority in the world population. So
no, not in America. We're talking about America.
No, I'm talking about the world.
Also, in the world, it's different. It's a little bit different in the world.
Okay,
right?
So in the world, is there
so we know
dominates?
about NASA's. When we hear about scientific accomplishments, we normally hear about NASA, right? In the NASA program, right? And then we project that out into the world, right? As if NASA is the only scientific.
Well, you do know America's
space station.
America leads in scientific discoveries and achievements, right?
America leads in the funding. We'll say
America
that.
leads in
I'll
science,
say that.
period, bro. Go look it up.
You know what? If I led in the funding, it would be mines too. I would say it's me and all that. But what the truth is, and this is what I wanted to get to. This is my point. What I wanted to get to earlier before we got here, right? The truth is, on these teams, these scientific accomplishments that are being made, if you look at the team that made the accomplishment, right? Look, not the guy, not the guy that's representing the team, right? But if you look at the whole team that actually made the accomplishment, right, you'll see the diversity in the team. You see what I'm saying? And I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're gonna say that The James Webb telescope is named after James Webb, right? James Webb is a white man, right? So that's the James Webb accomplishment, right? But if you look at the team that developed the James Webb telescope, right, you would understand the diversity within the scientific field, right? Now you're going to talk about the accomplishments. You're going to talk about Galileo and those people who are popular that you actually know about, right? But we don't hear about the small things that led up to those big accomplishments by the team members. You see what I'm saying? There's team members that accomplish small things that lead up to a big scientific achievement, right? So through that big scientific achievement, when you look back on it and how that developed and came to be, you'll see a diverse team of men and women that worked on that.
I got a comment about science. Listen,
Go ahead.
You're making the same conversation that we would talk about sports when somebody dominate. Well, science is a little different than that. For to dominate or a group to dominate in science, it's like a wrong nomenclature.
So while you ain't talking, X, can you go ahead and mute while you're not talking?
Oh yeah, pardon me.
Go ahead.
Right, and basically, when you talk about scientific accomplishments in the country, a lot of it happened in our industrial revolution when the people that's actually doing the work was inventing these things, and you have white Americans who's going to take the patent on it because the enslaved person is not able to get that patent. So you can't in America. You have to look at who's inventing these things. The most meaningful things in science in our country, it's arguable. It's the black man in this country that invented it. All right. So,
and one of the most important things, lasers, right? The way that your GPS signal works, right? We know Ron McNear did the physics on that, right? So the math and the light physics, he was a light physicist. So he knew about he was one of the top physicists when it came to photons and how photons act and how you can manipulate the photons and all of this, right? The black man, right? He died in the space launch, right? But at the time when he died, he had the most hours logged walking outside of the shuttle. Again, when he died, he had the most, Ron McNear, he had the most hours logged outside of the space shuttle. When they would launch those missions to work on these satellites and space stations, right? It was Ron McNear who was going to do the job. It was Ron McNear who was going to get out of the space shuttle, right? Go out into lower Earth orbit, right? And work and do the actual hands-on work. It was Ron McNear that was doing that. That's a black man. Y'all go ahead and look him up, right? One of the top mathematicians in the world right now, Hakeem Alusay. I shared his book in the Discord the other day. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna grab it here and I'll share it again. But he's one of the top mathematicians in the world, right? Now, again, here we talking about a minority of the population, right? We're talking about a minority. Let me do. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. But and so of course, here in America or throughout the world, right? We ain't gonna see black people dominating in that in that field. You don't even see Americans. Americans are scientifically ignorant altogether. You know, the Americans
General
are
population.
just plain
You mean-
and simple.
Oh, you mean general
Ain't that
population?
scientific, huh?
I said you mean the general population. Because America leads the world.
Yeah. The general population is scientifically ignorant. Yes, in America.
But
Yes.
I just want to make that point that America leads the world in science. America is not going to places trying to steal scientific information. China
We have
is coming
the
here
most
trying to steal scientific
means.
information.
Let me tell you what Albert Einstein said. They asked Albert Einstein, you know, how did he come up? You know, how do you get so smart? How do you get in so intelligent? I think they asked, that was one of the questions, right? And he had a hard time explaining, you know, like how he gathered his intelligence, right? And what a scientist by the name of Michael Shermer, he do a podcast too. I can't think of the podcast right off the top of my head, but his name is Michael Shermer. He's a pretty popular scientist though. He
That's
wrote
my
a book.
guy. That's my guy. I think I got all his books.
Yeah, he wrote a book. I have a book. It's called "Giving the Devil His Due." You read that one?
No, I don't got that one. I don't got that one.
Giving the Devil His Due.
I got it on my what's the name list, my Audible list. But go ahead.
It's a great read. You ought to do. But what Michael Shermer said is Einstein, people like Einstein, they had the time, right? And not only the time, but the means, right? So what he's saying is they got the time and the money, right? So the United States leads in science because we got the time and the money. That's the only reason. That's again, that's the only reason you have time. Listen, hold on. I'm almost done. The only reason you have time to inquire about some of the things that we've been able to inquire about, right, is because you got time to do it. Not only do you got time to do it, but you got enough money to sit there and inquire for a minute, right? While things get took care of. You can't worry about scientific endeavors. You can't worry about how a proton behaves, right? If your country is in poverty. You see what I'm saying? You can't worry about how photons and protons, and you can't think about a James Webb telescope, and who gives a shit about a nebula, right? If the population is being desolated by a disease or some type of pandemic or something like that, right? Or we don't have running water, or poverty and hunger is going crazy, and drought and famine and shit like that, right? We don't have time to be worrying about what protons act like. You see what I'm saying? During that time. So United States is one of those fortunate countries, right, that has not only the time, but we have the means to embark on some of these scientific endeavors.
Okay, Cory.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to all of that. I fuck with everything you said. Time and money. That's what's required in order to.
Yeah, it's definitely time and money. It's very, very important to become
so
scientifically sound like the United States. Yes. Mm-hmm.
No problem. My next question to you. What other countries besides America would you say have the time and the money? What are the richest countries in the world? What continent are they? So
the people who have things like that, you got ESA, the European countries. ESA, have you heard of ESA?
No, I haven't heard of ESA, but we all know that
ESA is the European version of NASA, right? And then you have ESA or something like that, right? Where it's the Indian the Indian version of NASA, right? And you got some other agencies, right? Those developed countries that are developed, sound, and first world type countries, right? They actually, every one of those countries actually participated in the development of the James Webb. That's why we say James Webb is a human endeavor, right? Because all of those countries, all of those countries that I named, they actually put some type of effort into the James Webb telescope. So yeah, those developed countries like that, yeah, they are scientifically sound. Now, the United States is the richest out of all of those. That's why we lead. But go ahead.
I got you. Now, Cory, what are the most developed countries in the world? Is it not European countries? Asian countries?
Say that again.
The most developed countries in the world. Is it not European countries and then Asian countries?
Yeah.
So who do you figure would be dominating science? Time and money is needed.
Yeah, that's fine. As far as the countries go, yes, that's fine. I would say European countries and the United States. Yeah.
Also, Cory, what I want to do, I want to bring you to a Pew Research Center, because I want to show you in America what's really going on. Hold on, let me see.
What was really going on?
I can't.
The black people playing basketball and all the white people doing science. Is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yes.
Huh? Essentially, yes. Well, I don't agree with that, right?
Good. Now, Cory,
I think Americans is watching TV and playing basketball and football, right?
Cory, can I get a statement real quick?
In a selected few. Hold on, you made a statement, and I want to comment on that statement. But then you can make a statement after I get done making my statement, right?
No doubt.
So you made that statement, right? But I want to say I disagree with that, right? And you can prove me wrong, and I can be wrong, and I'll even admit it, right? Okay. But I'm going to say America is busy watching football and being entertained, right? And a selected few are participating in the scientific field, right? And I'm probably going to say at the same rate. So if you take 100% of the black population, right? And then you take 100% of the white population, right? I believe at the same rate we would participate in science. At the same rate. That? You see what I'm saying? But go ahead. You can prove me wrong. Go ahead.
I want to prove that wrong. What I want you to do is go on Google, type in what race dominates science. Take that, because it's going to lead you to the first one.
That's not an honest question, though. Because obviously we know who dominates science, though. I'm gonna admit,
Cory, listen to me.
But I'm not gonna waste the time to do that, because I'm gonna admit that white people dominate science. I'm gonna admit that.
Cory,
I'm not gonna.
That's not what I'm trying to have you look to. That's not what I'm trying to have you look to. Okay, I want you to see the percentages of graduates in science.
Yeah. Okay. Now they didn't separate the black population and the white population. They didn't take 100% of the white population and then take the degrees. 100% of the black population. They didn't do it like that.
Cory, you just can't keep going on like that. Like, we got evidence here that would suggest something other. I'm asking you to put this up on the screen.
What am I Googling? What am I Googling then? What am I Googling?
Okay. Google
what race dominates science. Okay.
Yes, I just want that first link. That's all I want from the Pew Research Center.
Yo, I just asked.
What'd you say, James?
I said I just asked Siri.
Yeah, we're gonna get the.
I want a credible source. No disrespect to Siri.
Really?
So, who think Siri's gonna pull up?
I don't know, but I want to use Pew Research Center because I think that everyone knows about it.
That's who I'm using.
Okay.
I have to prove
Pew Research Center, right? Okay.
It says the race gap.
Let me share my screen. Hold on 1 second.
I had to prove something to Pew before on here. Pew is my favorite.
Yeah, Pew. I'm not arguing with no sources, right? I like everybody.
I don't think we can.
I love everybody, right? Okay, this is the Pew
Could you
thing.
read now? Corey, can you read that, please?
Which part you want me to read? The whole thing?
You can start. You can start from the top, bro. You don't gotta read the whole thing, but just read it. We can just read enough until we're satisfied.
It says there is a significant gap in the knowledge about scientific concepts along racial and ethnic lines in the United States.
Read that title. Read that title first.
Race gaps. The race gap in science knowledge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, Corey. Now, could you read? No disrespect, bro.
Okay. All right.
That quiz.
I'm gonna mute my mic, Cory. Go ahead.
I'm gonna read this right, but I have a problem with the point you're trying to make. I think I have an issue with that. But I'm gonna read this and then I'll voice my concerns. Right?
I'm waiting patiently.
Yes. There is a significant gap in the knowledge about scientific concepts along racial and ethnic lines in the U.S., according to a new Pew Research Center report released last week. When was last week? Okay, this was back in 2015, right? When asked a series of 12 science-related questions, whites on average fared better than blacks or Hispanics. Fine, that's talking about citizens, but go ahead. While the average number of questions white answer correctly is 8.4, for Hispanics, that number is lower than -7. Is that
No. It says no. It's a hyphen.
Lower than
connect
that's a
you to
hyphen.
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It says
Lower
Hispanics. That number is lower.
7.1.
Is lower at 7.1 and drops to 5.9 for blacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's talking about science-related questions that they 12 science-related questions that they had asked a group of people. But hold on, watch this. And then it tells you because this one doesn't have Asians. The Asians would have been really high. It says there were not enough Asian respondents in the sample to be broken out into a separate analysis. Now watch, it says our latest findings are consistent with previous Pew Research surveys and with data from the General Social Survey conducted by the National Opinion Research Center. These differences tend to span multiple scientific disciplines. So it's just not one science, but multiple. Multiple scientific disciplines. Science altogether. Why? Watch this. From life and earth sciences to physics and energy related questions. But why is this? Now we want to know, how come white people are so much better at answering these science related questions than our Hispanics and especially black people? It goes into.
I have a suspicion, but go ahead. Keep on reading. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm always gonna tell you, just follow the money. Whoever got the most money in that particular society generally is gonna outdo everybody else.
You mean
a
catch-all solution? God damn, man.
Yeah. So I talked about the time and the means, but go ahead.
It says research suggested there might be several factors at play, and they often are interconnected. Educational attainment, such as the different shares of black and whites to have college degrees may be one. Another issue might relate to the underrepresentation of blacks and Hispanics in the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics workforce. So there's an underrepresentation of them. That means it's less of them. And access to science information may also play a role in how well people cultivate an understanding of the subject. Our report finds that overall, Americans with more formal education fare better on science-related questions. That's obvious. Whites are more likely than blacks and Hispanics to hold a bachelor's or advanced degree, and whites also make up a larger share of science and engineering bachelor's degree recipients. Some 63% of science and engineering degrees awarded in 2011 went to white students, compared with roughly 10% to Hispanics and 9% to blacks, according to a report by the National Science Board. Now, this explains the point I was trying to make. Black people do not dominate in science. if you look at it through
I
academic
don't think no one
accomplishments,
argued.
the shit is
I don't
obvious.
Doing the whole
think-
point.
I don't think that was groundbreaking, or no one would even argue that, right? But go
Steve
ahead.
K was arguing it.
That
But the
black
point I'm
people
trying to make,
dominated in science.
yeah,
She
but
argued
we're
that?
but we're being misrepresented. But it's not. We're not being represented. That's why you don't know
she
that.
said
That's what she was
underrepresented,
saying.
and that's exactly what this.
No,
source
she
said.
said
We are
She said no.
underrepresented.
But when it talks about underrepresentation of blacks and Hispanics in STEM, it's speaking to the fact that there aren't black and Hispanics in STEM.
Yeah, the
to be represented.
underrepresentation.
It's
Yes,
not,
yes, we're underrepresented.
it's not,
Yes.
But she was trying to make it seem as if there was some sort of conspiracy to keep us out of the spotlight. Like it's more of us, but they're not showing us. So that's what I'm trying to make right here.
That's not what the article said. No, that's
and so
it's
what
not.
I'm trying to tell you is when it comes to the field of science, you can pick whatever science you want. White people dominate. Black people
and then
are
the
dominant in that
article,
area.
Hold on, X, because the article highlighted something, right? It talked about the likeliness, the reasons why these
it's because of the educational attainment.
Right, and how do you attain that? Through time and means, right? So what I talked about the time and the means to get there, right?
Of course. Now, Cory, I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
No, I want to make a point about that though. Because like I said, if black people had the same time and means on average, bro, we would do the same shit on average, bro. We got the same brain. You know what I'm saying? We human beings just like they are.
I don't disagree with you. Well, I will tell you that our culture, because of the oppression that we went through,
listen, our culture is what it is because of what we went through. It's a issue right there. There's a reason why that is, right? There's a reason why we're underrepresented. There's a reason why we're not the ones who are making the accomplishments, right? There's a reason for all that. But what I want to say though, through all of that, through all of that data, right? There are in every scientific endeavor, there are black men and women participating in that.
I'm not
that's all I
that.
want to make clear. I want to make
I'm
that
not
clear.
I'm not disputing that. But when it comes to like if a girl marries
white
a guy,
people dominate. They dominate everything in America.
If a girl marries a guy,
populist. But go ahead.
If a girl marries a guy and he was worth $1 million, or he's worth $100 million, and she contributes $100,000 to the marriage, he's not $100 millionaire. He's not worth $100 million because she contributed $100,000. Like she's not even in that scenario.
It has to. It's just not to do with the money that she contributed, right? It's a lot of other things that she did that helped him get to be a $100 millionaire.
I was creating that. I said she married him and he already had the $100 million.
He already had it. Okay.
Cory, what I'm telling you is this: white people were accomplishing these things scientifically before this diversity took place.
Yeah, while we was on a slave plantation, they was accomplishing scientific endeavors. Yes, while we was still on the slave
endeavors in England. We know this.
Yes. While we were underdeveloped, while they were conquering, while that's because
they can only conquer because of the science they had.
Yes, the technology. Some technology advanced. So your point is the white man.
My point is simply this. No, that's not. See, and that this is the point I'm trying to make. Why do black people interpret statements of fact that relate to our race?
Because we already conceded that. We already conceded that white people dominate.
Let me finish that.
And they're the most populous, and they had the most time in the means,
science,
right?
In science,
we already conceded those facts. But now you're going further to say that black people ain't shit because of our culture.
I didn't say that.
That's what you're going to. That's what
I did not say that. Cory, I did not. No, that's not Cory. Cory, that is not what I'm saying.
Tell me what your point is. What your
point is? You are interpreting what I'm saying somehow through a filter that gets you to that. My point was simply to state, because we started out on Black history. This was the show prior. We started out on the importance of Black history. And
we oversaturated it. We overdid it.
Hold on, Cory. Let me make a statement first. We were talking about the importance of Black history and that conscious community information, right? We were talking about that. What I was stating was simply that Black people, our culture is not directed towards academic success. It's directed towards sports, music, and entertainment success. So you're not going to find us in
we
academic
actually dominate
settings.
in where our culture is directed at, right? Don't we
Yes,
dominate that? Okay.
Yes, we do.
So white people's culture is not directed towards science. I just want you to know that. I just
white
want
people's
you
culture,
to
hold on,
know
talking about white
if you
people's
go
culture is
outside,
directed towards
if you go
academic
outside
success.
and pluck, if you go outside and you pluck a random white person and you ask them scientific questions, you'd be surprised that these motherfuckers is stupid as fuck.
No, I said it's directed towards academic success.
But go
Corey,
ahead.
That's what I just said. I said white people's culture is directed towards. Hold on, Corey, listen to me, bro. You just can't overtalk me.
That on
Corey,
average,
you just
if you
overtalking me
pluck
right now,
a
bro.
white person, if you pluck a white person off the street, right, they're not gonna be scientifically literate. I'm just telling you this.
I already know that. So I don't know why you're making that statement. What I'm trying to tell you is that white people's culture is just like Asian people's culture, though their Asian culture is more so directed towards academic success. Our culture as African Americans, I'm not talking about any other ethnic group like my man James.
And you a low down shot.
I'm not talking about any other ethnic group. I'm just talking about African. Even though you can talk about any other Black ethnic group.
There's a little bit of dishonesty. I'm sorry.
Where's the dishonesty? Hold on. Corey, you can't know what I'm saying if I'm not saying it because you cutting me off. How you gonna know what I'm saying, bro? I'm telling you, our culture is directed towards sports, music, and entertainment success. Our culture is not directed towards academic success.
Facts, man, that's all it is.
Say it again, James.
You're blind from the facts, man.
I just read the facts.
As far as the tip of your nose, if that's what you see about
James, the Pew Research Center is not at the tip of my nose. That stretches farther out from the tip of my nose.
The data was good data. It was
excellent data.
It was a good paper. It was excellent data. It was a good paper, right?
Now,
but
Corey, could you tell me where I'm being dishonest?
Say there's some dishonesty in
what?
In what the way we're interpreting things, right? We're interpreting things as if white people have science in their culture. Like white people actually give a fuck about science. White people don't give a fuck. You know what white people give a fuck about, bro? They give a fuck about guns. They give a fuck about guns, a good steak, some beer, and football. That's what their culture is. Guns, beer, steak, and football. That's what white people's culture is, bro.
Okay, but
now
you have
Corey, hold on, let me speak. Because they are more populous, right? Because they have a higher population and they dominate the economic system, right? They have the means to where their population can be more scientific. They can have more people in the scientific field because of the sheer numbers, right? And the sheer time and means. That's why. Otherwise, on average, Black people would do the same thing when the starter pistol go off at the track meet, kapow, right? Had we started running at the same time that everybody else started running, on average, we'd be in the same position as white people, bro.
Okay,
that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Where you working at with that noise, Double X?
Say again?
Where you working at with that noise in the background?
I'm at this warehouse.
What did he say?
I think it's a type of hydraulic press, but something like I forget the name. Use that.
I can't hear him no more. You at a hydraulic press? I
think it's something that deals with hydraulics. It's some type of machine.
So
the exhaust gives off.
It don't sound like you should be around that shit, man.
James, I appreciate you, my brother. I think you gotta relax, though. All right?
Yo,
relax,
but you try to bring down my stature, man.
I apologize to you. I said I don't believe you. I apologize to you.
Yeah. I don't like the whole thing.
I just said I don't believe you. I don't believe that you had a degree in aeronautics. What is it? aeronautics.
Yeah,
I didn't
all
do that.
but,
He showed
see,
his degree.
all
I
the shit.
apologize, and I said, James, I respect that. But that
I
still doesn't
understand.
give you.
I understand, but all the shit you talking, it's about. It's the same. It's related. Listen, we're talking about science and professionalism, and you got a motherfucker right here that's telling you that's the life he lived. I'm living the fucking dream.
You are, James. I congratulate you, but
you
one
can't even
person.
understand that.
I can. You're one person. You're one black person. You don't. You're not the statistics.
In the community,
But on average, I want,
On
and
average,
that's
black people are
another
not
thing.
in
We had it.
aeronautic.
Yo, I'm on.
I forgot to say that.
Chain on my shit, yo. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm to no one in aeronautics in this business, man. I'm telling you. Listen, it's like Tiger Woods out this motherfucker, man. Listen,
So you saying you the top?
That's usually how it is, James. We usually dominate whatever field we in, right? That's another point I wanted to make, right?
My point.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can't. Don't do that.
In every field that we enter into, it's not about looking for
We be the best
now and trying to get them.
I'm not now. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, we do. We actually do.
Okay, I'm just for the record. I'm saying I don't agree with that. I don't think that the top individual. I don't think that the top physicist is a black person. Though you have black people.
Well, one of
I don't think
I just named Hakeem. I just named Hakeem Alusay, right? Who's one of the top physicists in the world, right? But let me show you. Let me tell you what I mean. Let me tell you. Let me explain. Let me qualify what I mean, because I don't want you to argue against a straw man. I want you to argue against a steel man, right? So what I mean by this, right? And I had this discussion on a Discord earlier. You should. Are you subscribed to the Discord, X?
Nah, y'all gotta send me that, bro. Yo, you gotta take my number, Cory.
Put that. I think I got your number, X. But
yo, text me then. Send me that shit.
Let me see. I think because me, you, and Unbiased was talking one day. Maybe I think I got your number, or did y'all call me or some shit like that? Something like that. I don't know.
Probably.
But you know what? I can get your number, X. Don't worry about it. I can get a hold of it.
Short.
Yeah, get my number.
You're selling yourself short, X.
What I want to say is we had a discussion.
I respect you.
Yeah. But let me say this. Let me say this real quick.
It's mutual, man. You can't say yourself
James.
short.
James is a accomplished black brother. Yeah, we appreciate that. But let me say this. We had a discussion in the Discord earlier, right? And it was about I was talking about how in my trade, right, I always had to be better. You know what I'm saying? I always had to be the best. In order to get to where I'm at in my trade, I had to be the best. And that's what I want to say. And James alluded to it, right? James say he the baddest. It's like Tiger Woods over there. He the baddest motherfucker in aeronautical science, right? Usually, when a black man or woman steps into a field, that black man or woman will be one of the top practitioners of that field. Usually. Every time, I don't give a fuck what it is, right? Now you see Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? He's a black man. He comes into the scientific field, right? He dominates the scientific field. He's the most well-known scientist that has ever walked on the face of the planet Earth. Period.
I'm talking about well-known. I'm talking about.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just talking about him being well-known, him dominating that field, right? That he's the top astrophysicist. No matter whether we want to say he's popular, whether we know who the fuck he is or not, right? He's still the top astrophysicist in the world. You see what I'm saying? Still. And that's why he's the most popular scientist in the world, because of his accomplishments in his field. You see what I'm saying? And that's what black people, that's what black men and women do all the time. When black men and women decide to enter a specific field, whether it be tennis, whether it be astrophysics, whether it be aeronautics, whether it be bridge building, and building high rises and skyscrapers and shit like that. Whether it be anything, whether it be operating cranes, right? Whatever discipline it is, right? When that Black brother or sister decides to indulge or take an endeavor on or embark on a journey in whatever said field he or she's going into, they usually end up being, if not the best, one of the best. And that's a fact. That's just how Black people do. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, like I said, we have everything working against us. We have all of those tropes, those ideas that Black people don't do this and Black people don't do that. And usually Black people ain't this. And usually Black people don't do this. And the white man be doing, and the white man got through all of that shit. And this is what I talked about earlier on the Discord, right? That ball and chain. If y'all was in the Discord, y'all heard me talk about the ball and chain, right? That fucking ball and chain that you carry on your ankle the whole time. You see what I'm saying? That you climbing to the top of your field in. You see what I'm saying? Those are the things, those are the tropes, those are the stereotypes, those are the ideas that you got to fight against the whole time while you're climbing up that hill. Black people don't do this. This ain't what Black people. Usually Black people do. If you Black, you probably ain't gonna be good at it. The Black man ain't, and the Black man. See, we stuck in that mindset, and that's what we want to prove. Now we want to prove that on average, white people are more scientific than Black people. We have to go to the Pew Research, right? And we got to show that Black people is not doing what they supposed to be doing in the scientific field. It's white people that's doing what they supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, Black people playing basketball and watching BET. That's not what Black people are doing, right? That's a part of our culture. That's a part of our culture. BET, basketball, and rap music is a part of our culture.
Then you would academic success is a part of white people's culture.
I'm not done with my rant. I got 5 more seconds.
Go ahead, bro.
Football, beer, and baseball is a part of white folks' culture, though, right? We don't hear why ain't we hearing that? How come we not hearing? Well, white people don't do science. What they do is they drink beer, they shoot guns, and they watch football, and they like race cars and shit. That's white people culture. You're not gonna tell me, you're not gonna sit on this panel and tell me that science is white people's culture.
Okay, white people invented what we today call science. Well, it is a staple of their culture. They're always.
You know what? If you're gonna, if you want to,
am I lying about that?
Yes, you're lying about that.
I'm lying about white people.
Science is not white people's culture. Science again. Science
Can you listen to me for a second before you talk?
Culture.
Cory, can you listen to me before you go, Cory? Can you listen to me and what I'm saying? Did I ever say science is white people culture? Those words didn't come out of my mouth.
Well, that was what I was talking about. I was talking about Black culture, right? I was talking about culture. But go ahead. Go ahead. You're saying white people made it up. White people made science up. And I'm saying that's a lie. That's a lie.
White people didn't invent what we today call modern science. No.
Because you don't skip steps. You cannot skip steps, X. Right? So how did they get to the point where they got to modern science? You don't get to the point without the Africans. So we gotta stop it. Human beings, science, and modern science. Science and modern science is
Cory, do you know how modern science came about? Yeah, well, what race were the humans that endeavored to make it?
No, it don't matter. Black and white.
Well, it don't matter to you. It matters to me.
It don't matter because it's not.
To
It's
you, it
not.
doesn't
That's
matter,
not
Cory.
how it happens. That's not how it happens.
Cory,
White people
who
didn't develop
hold on.
it. White
Who
people did
separated
not.
chemistry from
You're gonna
alchemy?
try to tell me
Who did
that
that?
white people developed modern science in a vacuum, and that's a lie. That's a lie.
Never told you they developed it in a vacuum. Told you they developed it. There's a difference, Cory.
Meaning
this, prior
they
to white
developed
people,
it without the
Arabs,
help, or they developed it. What you're saying is they developed it without the help or aid of any other race on the planet. That's what you're saying, and I'm saying that's a lie. They didn't develop modern science in a vacuum.
Cory. Like, okay, did black people develop hip hop in a vacuum?
I'm saying the world helped them come to.
Bro, y'all gotta stop being so defensive and just like be honest.
I'm trying to explain it to you. You trying to tell me that I'm wrong. I'm trying to tell you that there's steps to get to modern science, right? And it took the world to take those steps. The world took those steps together. You see what I'm saying?
Cory,
you have.
Cory, hold on. Can I say something before you go ahead?
Go
made
ahead.
a statement. I just want to address it. You said it took steps to get to modern science. White people didn't accomplish it in a vacuum, correct?
Listen, what do you think modern science is, brother?
Cory, you listen to me?
No,
James,
you said
hold on,
exactly what I said, and that was perfect.
Now, James, now, Cory, I'm going to say something to you. Did it take steps to get to hip hop being produced?
Yes, it did. Yes.
And
black people didn't do that alone.
Cory, I'm not done.
Cory, I'm not done. Do that alone in a vacuum. So stop that. Yes.
Even though you're not done,
can you saying that, Cory?
Go
Can I
ahead.
say something? Yo, how we gonna have a conversation if everybody is cutting everybody off?
Conversation. Can you take? You've been talking. It's a question. Along
I
your
didn't get a chance to finish my point.
No.
James.
It's modern. You're talking about modern science, right? Do you know what modern science is? It's what I'm asking you because you are. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you. Listen, modern science is something they made up recently, and it's based on assumptions. You know what these scientific assumptions are, brother? No, you don't. So you really don't know what you're talking about. Listen to me, man. You know, the act of taking for granted or supposing a thing without proof is the assumptions and suppositions that they do in modern science, all right? So watch out the terms that you're using. I'm in the profession. Watch the terms. The terms don't mean.
I don't like your language, James, but go ahead. Keep going.
I'm just saying, terms doesn't mean what you think it means, right? And you got to be careful. Make sure you understand the terms you're using. That's all. I'm back.
James, I ain't talking the whole time you talk. Not that what you
Go ahead.
is correct. I was just simply allowing you to spill, make it spill. If we go into what the definition of modern science is, that could not come about if it were not for white people. White people invented what today we call
That's a lie.
science.
That's a lie.
Okay,
That's a lie.
now let me finish my point, please.
Go ahead.
The way they invent it, once you get into chemistry, when they separated chemistry and alchemy, principles came into existence that would go on to govern or to establish what we call modern science. But the point I'm trying to make to you, hold on.
The point I'm trying to make is it don't matter what. It don't matter if it was purple people on this motherfucking planet, right? We're gonna end up where we at no matter fucking what. It don't take white people. White people didn't have to ever walk a foot on this fucking planet, bro. Never ever does it take a fucking white person to breathe one single molecule of oxygen on this motherfucking planet, right? We're still gonna end up in the place we are today. No matter what, bro.
That's not true.
All right, okay. All right. I guess you're saying white people are superhumans and everybody else is just some kind of other kind of human.
No, Cory, that's what somehow you have a
humans are gonna humans are gonna do what humans are doing, no matter what. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Answer
Let
that
me say
question.
something.
What
Let me
dictates what
say
humans
something
do?
here to prove you wrong. I'm going to say something that's going to prove you wrong, and then you
On
should
what?
shut up. You should shut
Prove
up
me wrong
after I
on
get
what?
done with the statement.
First tell me what you're gonna prove me wrong on, and then go ahead and do it.
That white people.
That white people, without white people, we wouldn't have modern science.
Okay,
That's
go
what
ahead.
you said. Now I'm going to prove you wrong, right? Because there's two major developments on the planet, right? There's language and there's agriculture. Those things happen across the planet independently. Agriculture developed in West Africa independent of the rest of the world, bro. Independent. Language. Human beings are gonna figure out how to communicate independently. And as a matter of fact, agriculture is one of the highest sciences out there, right? It's the most important science out there. It's how you develop community. It's how you community and society is how you develop the time and the means to develop modern science. So without those steps, like I said, you don't skip steps. Brother Unc always said all the time, you don't skip steps. And without those steps that human beings took, not white people, not black people, not orange people, not Indian people, not Mexican people, right? Human beings, those steps that human beings took led to the development of modern science. That's all I'm saying there, bro. And I'm saying those agriculture develop independent. So humans do human things. And without agriculture, you would never, ever, 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 ever get to modern science.
X, you don't have to respond. You don't have to respond, X. Check it out. Listen, he just proved it, X.
He just prove he's going to prove it. That's why I'm responding. You have to let me respond in order to say he proved it.
All right, well, then let me get a chance to prove it too. Right? After you.
You go ahead and prove it.
No. Go ahead. You can respond.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Without black people, would there be hip hop?
Yeah. I'll get a chance to
fucking God. Cory, did you just say yes?
Say what? I didn't hear you.
Without black people, would there be hip hop?
Yes. It would be.
Mm-hmm.
It would be some rendition. It would be some rendition of that. Yes, I'm sure.
Cory, you know what? Yeah, sure. Now, Cory, the reason you can't be sure is because you can't say things would have existed, and we don't have anything showing that the trajectory is leading to that. There was no trajectory of any movement.
You know, maybe I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest because I was dishonest a few minutes ago. I don't know whether they would be hip hop or not. I don't know. Okay, but we do. There is music though. I mean, like, I don't like the analogy I did. The analogy
already handled that.
Watch, James. You said you would go last. That's why I asked you to go first because I know you're just gonna talk. So what's gonna happen? You want to go first, and then I'll come back to Cory and then address you something.
Okay, yeah. Let me interject for a second. In that case, if you're willing to, so that way you can handle both. You can handle both responses to you, right?
Go ahead, James. I'm mute out. Go ahead, James.
Okay, thanks. All right. Listen, this will prove your assumptions are incorrect. Do you think that aviation, which is one of the highest science in my world, it is the highest, but like Cory said, agriculture is big because it feeds the world. But communication and transportation is big. And in transportation now, the highest science is aeronautical science. Do you think there would be aeronautical science without white people, X?
No, from my understanding.
You see, that's the problem. That's the problem, brother. I can't. You see, now let me prove it. Now, you see, I said it in a particular presentation already. But listen, the idea of aeronautical science started over 1,000 years ago in North Africa, brother. by a North African, man. You got to look up his name. It's Ibn Firnaz, okay? Firnaz, all right? And everything coming up from aeronautical science came from there, okay? Now, the thing is, you are indoctrinated into a fake supremacy. It's an affliction that white people have, and then it's catching on some niggas. So what you do is you adopt that populist view, and you think it's got politicians who really think Black people contributed nothing to Western civilization. And then some niggas pick up that kind of idea and start looking at themselves like nothing. This is where you at right now. And that's why you would make these assumptions that's not based on any proof, but it's based on the bombardment of fake information about social, economic constructs in our world, and you fall victim to it. And that's why you would view us from that type of lens. That's why a brother like me would come up, and people, like Cory said, people know who I am around these streets, but you would question that, say, this nigga can't be what he say he is. This is why everything you are doing it's a couple of hours now, but the root cause of your attitude and disposition is on a fake premise, brother. And once you start seeing that, it's gonna rock your world, man. You're not unintelligent, so
and go ahead, because I want you to be able to respond to that. X, you got to respond to that. But I want to say something.
I'm gonna respond to both of y'all. I'm waiting. I was waiting for James to finish. I don't know if James finished.
Yeah, because James said a few things, and I tend to agree with James, but he said some things that might be inflammatory. So I want you to be able to respond to those things.
I don't like, as long as we all are sober and that's his perspective on me based off of what he's.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there was some accusations there, so I want you to be able to respond to some of those.
I'm gonna respond to it, but I'm gonna respond to it. First, I'm gonna respond to yours first, stuff that you said first.
You got to get a little bit closer to the microphone, to the phone.
I said first, then respond to James said.
Like you just got like really low. You was low, but now you like really, really low. Or is that just me, James? Or
no, I was muted. I was muted.
No, I'm saying is X even lower than he was before?
Yeah, I think he has to work that press in the background right there. And then after what I said, that kind of shocked his world. So his volume gonna automatically drop. He can't say shit after that. He's just
like I ain't gonna lie, I ain't trying to overtalk you in that X, but you sound like you way far away. Like I can barely hear you. I can barely hear anything.
Yeah, I can't.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm talking.
Better, a little bit better.
But it's way low.
It's still low, but a little bit better. Yeah.
Only thing I can say, it's the best I can do right now.
Oh man, my bad. Sosa was in the back. I ain't even know that.
Unless you want to talk to me
I'm a terrible host.
Unless you want to talk to me on Saturday.
Oh, Sosa, you still up?
You want to do that?
Yeah, but let me say this, because X, you low, and I swear if you talking, I can't hear you. But and I ain't trying to be rude, so I apologize or whatever.
Okay, yo, my phone volume was low. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. You better now. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Now, as soon as you started talking, now you went back out again.
You know what? Look, y'all go ahead. Cory, get my number. Call me tomorrow. Put me on this live. And James, come back on too, bro. I don't got no problem with you. I just
I do a Saturday. I'm gonna text you the Discord invite. Right. I do a Saturday morning show. I want you to come on there.
That's what it is, bro.
You'll get the
Do that
you'll
because I'm
see
at
the
work and
invite.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. This ain't me copping out, but I definitely want
No,
James' ass on what he
I
said.
hear you because I want to continue. This is a great conversation, and I want to continue it. It's just you so low back there. I can hear you, but it's like really, really, really low. You got to listen very hard. And
Yeah, I got you. Plus, I ain't supposed to be talking on this phone while I'm working. Yo, all right. I'm gonna get off the pen. I'm gonna say peace to all y'all. Sosa, James, Cory. I'm gonna keep listening to what y'all saying.
Hey, and we
text
gonna
me,
be,
bro.
and I
Text me.
might say some things about you. So just
I'm
know
going-
we.
Yeah, no. I don't take.
I'm
Yo,
gonna
Cory, I
say
told you,
something.
I ain't gonna take no
You
offense to what
can.
you're
You're
saying.
gonna be able to address that
Yeah.
not only in the Discord, but we're gonna go live again tomorrow.
Right.
So you're gonna be able to address everything I say.
Yeah, not Mike for me, X. I'm gonna say some things about and not personal, like you know what I'm saying. Deal with
Right.
information.
No, I got y'all. Yo, peace to the whole panel, man. I'm out. Peace.
Peace, X.
y'all.
Peace.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening. I was just like, because I'm hearing, I'm like, the analogy. You don't like saying, okay, if would Black people have discovered science, right? And then you use that same comparison to hip hop. Like you can't really compare those two things aren't comparable because
Right.
most scientific discoveries you already know come through serendipity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's a buildup from hunter gatherers. Have you ever seen those? Have you ever seen a Khoisan when they need to find water in the desert? They tie a monkey to a tree, right? They feed the monkey salt, right? Get them thirsty, and then they let the monkey go, and the monkey know where the water is, and they follow them. Do you know that's a method?
Yeah.
That shit happened through trial and error. Like niggas ain't just figure that shit out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to repeat that and go, okay, yeah, this shit works.
Yeah.
I'm saying so that type of all those things over the millennia of shit build up to you get to modern science. Even with modern science, you get the Enlightenment period, and the Enlightenment period comes on the back of the golden age of Islam. You know what I'm saying? Down. So that shit is like, so you can't really compare that that science to hip hop. And even scientists say, yo, if Darwin hadn't came up with evolution by natural selection, somebody else would have.
Yeah.
They make that statement
absolutely.
emphatically, bro.
Yes.
Because it's the same brain. And they even say like there were people that already had that type of thinking prior to.
They just didn't write it down. Yeah.
And then old boy was neck and neck with him. He just published his shit first.
Right.
Yeah, but scientists say the same shit, bro. We got the same brains, bro.
Yeah. That's one of the highlights that I was trying to make. Right, is no matter what, right? And especially what Unc always say, right? We don't skip steps, right? It ain't no skipping those steps, right? So no matter what, humans are gonna do what humans gonna do, And like I said, I talked about the agriculture, how that was developed independently. You know what I'm saying? So and without agriculture, you'll never get a James Webb. You'll never, ever, 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 ever get a James Webb without agriculture.
Most
period.
Right.
Point blank.
Yeah, that's why that was a key point to your other conversation you was having about time and need. And time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what we talked about before when dealing with agriculture. You see, now you have the time and the means because now you don't have to dedicate your whole population to finding food.
Yes.
You can now get people to work on writing. You can get now people can really look at the stars and get this shit down. Now you can get people who work in specified masonry and all this other shit because now you have the time and the food will be the money that gives you the means.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All that shit there, that's just fundamental, man.
And the same thing, like I said, they asked Albert Einstein, and the thing is, he said he had the time and the means, right? If we wasn't on a slave plantation, no one probably would know or give a fuck who the hell Albert Einstein was. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, I'm not saying Albert Einstein wouldn't have been a smart guy and he wouldn't have gave some accomplishments to the scientific field, right? But I'm saying he would have had competition. if when that starter pistol went off, right? Like I said earlier, when the starter pistol go off, right, and everybody start running at the same time, everybody now you're gonna have a first place, a second place, a third place, fourth place, sixth place, all that shit, right? But on average, right, everybody's gonna cross that finish line at the same time, right? Averagely, you see what I'm saying?
The
You're
most
not
elite will
gonna
still be
you're
the
not gonna
most
have
elite.
somebody cross the finish line 5 minutes after everybody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all the runners
Or
run
like
about
one
the
race,
same.
or one race is people finishing.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying?
So that's
Hey, and a scene
that's
where
the
we even
thing.
look at what niggas did. Wow. If you look at George Washington Carver, you know, this is during
slavery. Yeah.
Imagine if he wasn't a slave.
Yeah.
What he could have become. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
And he was broke. So
Exactly.
imagine if he had some money.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, come on, bro. Like, yeah, man. And it's like I think he's taking that as some form of blackology, but that's just scientific. Like scientists will say the same shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The actual sciences and the things that I was saying, right? I had read in science in the books of scientists, right?
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So
Now, from
you
what
know,
you were saying, you were making a better point, because even if you take the George Washington Carver example, you think Henry Ford is smarter than George Washington Carver? Listen, Henry Ford was consulting with his brother for a reason, to develop this assembly line. You know, listen, it's a great point that you guys are making tonight. But all I'm trying to say is, just cause I'm on this bus with you right now, you know.
Yeah. We appreciate
yeah.
Yeah, we know you can get off at
frequency a little bit.
Yeah, we know you can get off and you're subject to get off at any start. As soon as we know when you ring the bell. We know when the bell.
I was alarmed by
Ready for y'all.
by a few things you said earlier, right? Though I was agreeing with the overall point, right? I was definitely alarmed by some of the things you said, right?
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, because like if that statement was true, right? If there wouldn't be no modern sciences about white people, then you won't see people moving large structures in one continent, right? Transporting this shit for miles away in one continent, and another group of people independently who don't know nothing about those individuals doing the exact same shit.
Same thing, right?
You wouldn't see that. You feel me? You wouldn't see an astronomical site in Africa, an astronomical site in Stonehenge. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't see those. Like it would be lopsided one place for long periods of time. You know what I'm saying? But you see the same shit everywhere, bro.
I mean, look at the way people don't think that science is science, really, though. That's what fucks me up, Sosa. But look at the way people butcher an animal, right? Across the world, right? And how they use the hide, and they make shoes and all this old shit. Like they developed this, and these cultures are independent. This is a part of each individual culture, right? And they do it in a different way, right? With different animals, right? And different flora and fauna, right? But they still develop it independently. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bro,
it's what humans do. But go ahead, you was gonna say something?
This culture in the goddamn, I forgot what area, some type of jungle, bro. If you see the process they use to take a tree, grind that shit down, make it, because it's edible, but you got to go through a lot of shit, man. You got to grind that shit down. You got to mix and blend it with certain other, like you would be like, nigga, how did y'all figure this shit out? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, this shit's crazy, bro. So you see it like everywhere, bro. Like some of the most astonishing, you'd be like, yo, why? Why would you even, you know what I'm saying? But you know, most probably serendipity. You know what I'm saying? Stumbled upon some shit, he noticed this, and he observed that, you know what, made that correlation. And then another person added on to that. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's that buildup, man.
Yeah. I seen them make a glue You know what I'm saying? Like they make a paint like a glue. It's the shit is like gorilla glue. You know what I'm saying? But it's off of the skin, like the shit that they throwing away, like when they making the hide to make the fur coats or whatever it is they making. It's a layer like a fat or something right there that they get off of the skin, off the hide. And that can act like a glue. Like the shit will hold some shit together like fucking gorilla glue. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And like this is thousands of years old, probably hundreds of thousands. I don't know. Well, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but a couple tens of thousands of years old. You know what I'm saying?
Well, while it might be the most amazing thing in the scientific world, that's something. But I'll tell you, man. Is it TK earlier tonight?
CK.
CK up to here with X though.
They always
they go way back. They go way
back. That's an old relationship there. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had to
but the thing. What
big
up,
everybody? Big up. Yeah, what's happening? I was listening to you guys talk about the technological difference between African countries and European countries. And one of the fundamental things that people never take into consideration is the environment. Europe used to have a wolf. Europe used to have a bear. Europe used to have a lion. When you read Aesop fables about the lion and the mouse, there was a European lion, there were European bears, there was European wolf. Europe used to have some dangerous predators, but what they did, they kill all of those and they tame the land. Europe used to have some great forests because the land became fertile after the ice receded from the Great Ice Age, and that receded ice
10,000 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, churn the land up and make the soil beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Andalusian farms, the wheat farms, the wine is a result of the Ice Age. Because Europe land is younger than Africans land, than the land in Africa. So the soil was rich and nutrient for years. This afforded them a lot of time because when somebody don't have to worry about predators, they go down to the river, you have to look out for crocodiles. There's no European crocodile. They kill all of them. They call them dragons in the early days. And St. Michael, the dragon slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Europe tamed all of that. And then after that, Europe had some of the most conflicts ever. And one of the things that caused innovation is conflict. These people, after the fall of Rome, was constantly in conflict for hundreds of years. So what you learn when you're in conflict, you learn weaponry, and you learn siege technology, and you learn defense. Because if you're always in fear, you're going to say, I need to build forts, and I need to build weapons to protect myself. Africa never have those conflicts. They still had predatory animals. And then, although they had writers, people could write. It was only for certain people. It was only for certain people. It was kept as secrets. Although a low population in Europe could read and write, it was significantly higher than the population in Africa. We have to agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
a certain part. I will go back because I go ahead, finish that because I want to go back.
Don't finish it. Yeah, the significant empire that they had in Africa, the Benin.
Benin's way later. You're talking about you dealing with sub-Saharan. You're dealing with sub-Saharan Africa. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm dealing with sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, but Benin is way later.
I'm dealing with us. I'm not dealing with people who are not us.
Right, there you go.
Right, I'm dealing with us. And when you look at it, when England went in the 1800s and destroyed the Benin Empire and took the bronze, and destroy the place. They were on the rise. That empire was on the rise, but it couldn't compete with England because that empire never experienced 500, 600, almost 1,000 years of conflict. Remember, when slavery started of people in the West Africa, it was in the 1400s. When Rome fell, the last vestige of Rome fell, Constantinople fell 500, but before that, earlier Rome fell like almost 300-400 years before that. But what happened? They were always in conflict. We have never experienced that kind of conflict. When the tribes in Europe was fighting, Africans never experienced that kind of conflict.
All right, let me make a statement.
Technology.
Let me make a statement because I want to back up a little bit, right? And I always deal with environment because like they teach you that environment is the catalyst for everything, right? So in terms of farming, right, you gotta when you go back, farming develops in what they label the Fertile Crescent, right? It's a stretch from into Northern Africa on in Asia. Okay, so farming develops in this region. Farming spreads to Europe later on. You know what I'm saying? But the difference between and farming pops up in West Africa, but way later, and the difference is also environment, because in West Africa they have a lot of wild plants that cannot be domesticated to this day. And another barrier was the Sahara. Once that Sahara dried up, it created a buffer, and it made it a difficult journey to get across to the other side. So now they're isolating that area, which you got these undomesticated plants that are undomesticatable. You also have the wild bull, wild cattle, bro. One of the most fierce. It kills more people in Africa to this day. It's undomesticatable. You feel me? They have the zebra, right? They don't have the regular horse. Zebras, you can't domesticate a zebra. That's why you don't see a bunch of niggas ride around with zebras. So all of these different environmental factors play a role and shift in how it should go and how it should develop and what pushes, you know what I'm saying, the nation further, and why some people are supposedly behind, but a lot of times they're not farming because the way of life that they're using is the best way of life.
Yes.
For that environment.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So sometime when they ain't farming, it has nothing to do with intelligence. Like our situation they made for that shit, bro.
No, I am not saying that.
So that adds another component to the time and the means. It's also circumstances.
Yeah.
So circumstances.
Guns, germs, and steel, man.
But I agree with pretty much everything Stu P said. That was church, right? When Stu P, I always say it all out, man. When Stu P's talk, man, he says some pretty profound things, and everything he said definitely was profound, definitely. But go ahead, Stu P. You was gonna say something else?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you. But the thing about it is that, like the fertile land in the Christians and the fertile land in the North.
Of course, you're gonna agree with what you said was profound, though, right?
No.
I
can give you a book to read on it that breaks.
No.
That breaks all that.
No, I'm saying I agree with what you said.
Yeah, I know what you said. I know what you said. I'm just fucking with you.
Because honestly, this going to sound blackology, but those Homo sapiens that develop in the harsh climate of Europe have a way to dispense of any enemy them have. So if the wolf was a problem,
no, because you're thinking you're doing that's kind of blackology.
No, that's why I said blackology.
One of the reasons
he qualified it. Go ahead, though.
One of the reasons that Homo sapiens followed those animals into those terrains.
No. That's what I'm not.
Europe. It's a cold region. I'm trying to explain to you some of the reasons, some of the advantages Homo sapiens had. See, a lot of people think because they're in a colder region, that it's more disadvantage to some people that's not. But that's not necessarily the case.
No. And that's not what I'm talking. That's not what I was saying is that if the wolf is a problem, the hunt wolf until wolf is not a
Right.
problem.
In Africa, you have the lion. Go ahead.
If the bear is up, there was a lion in Europe. There was a European lion.
And you got the wild bull in Africa. Okay, go ahead.
No, this is what I'm saying. They have a tendency, if something is a problem, they make it extinct.
That's what humans have done. No, listen. That is true for humans all over the planet.
No, in Africa, the Maasai, although the Maasai.
Now you're talking about the modern Maasai versus talking about
No,
Europeans 45 years ago.
No, let me just say it. I'm not talking about European 25 years ago. Because the European lion.
40,000 years ago.
No.
Europe.
I'm not going back 40,000 years. This is what I'm saying. The European lion got extinct 1,000 years ago. This is what I'm saying. The European lion got extinct 1,000 years ago. The African has almost always live in balance with his environment.
No, that's blackology, bro.
This is what, let me just finish saying. If a lion is a problem to them, it's not every lion. If crocodile kills somebody down by the river,
you got
that crocodile that kill a person. They're not going out there to kill every crocodile.
Where are you getting that from, Steve?
The practice how they live today.
That is your personal.
I using how they live today with the crocodile.
That's your personal opinion on that, and I ain't gonna argue.
It's not personal. I'm looking at how they live today with the crocodile. How they live today with the crocodile.
Do you know that the horse originated in North America?
Where?
In North America.
The horse didn't originate in North America.
No.
No, because the Persians rode horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, the horse.
That's because the horses migrated over there. The horses can survive in damn near every terrain. The horses migrated over here.
The American horse.
The American horse?
There was an American horse.
Now you jumped on me.
Became extinct thousands and thousands of years ago. That animal the American horse became extinct. Thousands and
about 10,000. I think about 10,000 BC. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, long before that. It became
about 10,000 BC. I'm trying to find it.
No, 10,000 BC. 10,000 BC.
I'm trying to
already came over to the Americas by crossing the Barren
Strait. I said extinct.
Yeah,
extinct.
No, but I'm telling you, when modern men came to America, the horse wasn't there. The horse was extinct long before that.
Okay, go ahead, talk. I'm gonna find it.
You see, with pseudoism, y'all woke chef up.
I'll find it.
When modern men come to America, the horse was already extinct. Somebody introduced the horse to the Americas.
Somebody said something to wake the Archbishop up.
Yeah,
right.
Probably was QPs. I know it.
You see,
the Archbishop.
It's not that they can't be domesticated. Yeah, it's hard. They got an unpredictable nature and all of that. But they're weaker and their back is flat. So
that's why the zebra
it's not worth domesticating a zebra.
They can't carry weight. They cannot carry weight.
Just for for those who've been dealing with mules and shit all his life, just for you, man.
You see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Some 10 million years ago, up to a dozen species of horses roamed the Great Plains of North America.
Wait, that's not what you said. It was so pseudo. It was about the zebra.
No, the zebras are you can't. Yeah, the zebras are undomesticated animal.
Whatever, man.
I'm trying to find out when.
Yeah, and about their physiology, what you just mentioned about.
But he's trying to prove a point about 10 million year old horses.
No, he's 10,000. Yeah,
Is it?
But what he said was somebody just said about their physiology, about their back and about them being weaker. Our modern horse or the domesticated horse was bred to the liking that we have nowadays.
So
it's not a matter of how they are in the wild. It's what we breed them to become, right? So that breeding process or that domestication, you're breeding certain traits that you want in the animal, right? So that what the horse comes from, if you look at that animal, you'll see the difference.
Well, let's look at it.
That human beings.
Bring it up, Sosa. Bring it up.
You'll see the difference in what human beings created versus what they was. That animal didn't look like it looks now.
Right.
Dig what I'm saying? So the domestication of the zebra would have went along the same, you know what I mean?
Trajectory.
They would have picked ones with longer legs, you feel me, and bred them with each other. They would have picked ones with higher backs, you know what I mean? And they would have bred those traits in them. The same way with any domesticated animal. You know what I mean? The traits, the qualities that we see in them now was bred in them. I'll stop.
right. You feel me? And like I said, that's in Guns, Germs, and Steel too. Like I said about break it down and planting a zebra. But I'm just showing. See, it says horses in North America went extinct around 11,000 years ago. So I'm saying, so Mustang that we see here today and sometimes considered an invasive species. So I'm saying, so what I'm saying is, the point I was trying to make is that those horses were here before those Native Americans got here. And when they talk about that, they most probably hunted them to extinction. So I was trying to get a point that human beings, like Africa wasn't some special to where we live in balance and harmony, like in other people. Nah. Everywhere human went, shit went extinct. You know what I'm saying? Some shit survived, bro. That was my whole point with like starting with the horse. That I ain't going to North America, it spread across the globe, then it went extinct here, and then it was reintroduced when the Spaniards and all the niggas came back over to North America.
But I wanna what I'm gonna do is I wanna kind of veer the conversation off a little bit.
Yeah, because me and Stu Peace could fuck both of y'all up.
I'm gonna veer it off because I think that we kind of concluded that one a little bit. That was a great conversation, and I think we learned a few things from that. Okay. But this kind of segues, right? My conversation. This conversation segues into my conversation pretty good, right? So earlier on the Discord, we had a discussion, and it was about the discussion that Dr. Ma'at had on her channel yesterday. She played a young lady's video or a woman's video. Her name was Tammy something. What's the lady's name, Sosa?
Oh, shit.
The lady's channel.
I found out yesterday. Tammy something. The Fox Soul Network, some shit.
Yeah, it's on the Fox Soul Network. Sister, her name is Tammy something. She sounds like a pretty intelligent sister, right?
You mean the Dr. Omar situation with the transsexual?
Yes, yeah. I didn't realize. Sosa told me earlier that she was a trans, but I really wasn't like watching it. I was more so listening to it than
but why you calling her sister now? I'm thinking you talking about a woman, man. What up?
He did that earlier. I was like, Cory, you just keep
listen.
He can't. It's in his mind. So just let it rock.
If that's what this person wants to be referred to as, right? Then I'm going to refer to a person the way they want to be referred to, right? I'm not going to get into.
And ensure we don't get a strike. And ensure we don't get a strike, Cory. So there you get on with that one, bro.
There you go. So
we not finna challenge that.
Yeah.
Not on the Pseudo Killas, I'll show you.
Yeah. But and that actually clouded now, and it sheds some other light too, right? Because now it makes more sense to why I was pissed. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it was two. Well, it was the transvestite, and then it was the Cynthia G sister, which I never really heard. I've seen her before, but I never really heard her talk. But now that I heard her talk, Jesus Christ, I don't know what brother she been around, right? But yeah, so Dr. Ma played this video, and she had a brother on there, and they had a discussion. Now I really didn't hear Dr. Maas and them discussing them, because like I said, I was in and out. I was just kind of listening to it, and I was in and out of the room. And but I heard the transsexuals and the Cynthia G ladies conversation. And I just wanted to say in it, because it just made me upset, because I just wanted to say that for the most part, like all the black men that I had that's ever been in my life, that I've ever met, talked to, anything, right? The overwhelming majority of those black men were hardworking, tax-paying family men. And it seems like we got this trope in the black community, right? That black men are somehow deadbeats and somehow don't got a job and whatever have you, all of these stereotypes that we all grew up with, right? But when you go out, right, in the real world, and you look, because I was telling Chef and them, I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, and I'm out doing things that I don't know. I was out going to the grocery store and shopping and shit like that, right? And as I'm out, I'm seeing all black men, right? But they at work. They the guy. I pull up to Dunkin' Donuts, right? It's a young black brother there at the window at the Dunkin' Donuts, right? The guy that dropped off my books, right, from Amazon, right? A young black brother dropping the thing. The FedEx guy, right? He's a brother, right? I'm driving down the street. I see dump trucks. I see lawn services. I see the city bus driver, right? I see the school bus driver. All black men, right? You go in. I don't go to Walmart's. We have it's kind of equivalent to Walmart's. It's called Myers. I go there because they don't do child labor and shit, right? They against that kind of shit, right? I don't know if y'all got Myers or whatever, but we got Myers, and I avoid Walmart's at all costs. But I go to Myers, right? And it's all young black men and women in there. The cashier, the old dude that greets you at the door, he an old black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, black men are at work making America what America is. We the ones out here that makes America function. But yet we got the stereotype that we lazy, we deadbeat dads, we criminals, and we unemployed. That's the stereotype that we got. And this transvestite and this sister here is pushing that narrative, right? And I just want to say, am I the only one that see this? Am I the only one that see black men making America function? Black men at work all day, every day. Am I the only one that see that, or is there this population of deadbeat black men? Am I not seeing the clear view? You know what I'm saying?
You want bringing up a transvestite? That's all.
One of the fundamental problems that occur in the black community was the introduction of the television. Hear me out. The television was the downfall of the black community. Prior to the supposed window to the world, black people, I'm not saying that they were content, but the black family was stronger because we weren't looking at other people and comparing our lives to their life. We were going about living. And if you had XYZ, you had XYZ. But now, since the television came into our communities, and I'm talking about Jamaica, you can put it to America, is that people started looking outside themselves for satisfaction. And a lot of women looked outside of themselves for satisfaction and started to measure their black men to other men and start saying we fell short when we didn't, because our communities weren't primarily one of vanity. Because if you go back 40 years, the average black woman was a skinny little woman, well shaped and curvy, but she was nowhere the size of the average black woman now. Everybody was almost Diana size. Not everybody, and I'm going to say everybody, but the majority of black women was Diana size. Go back and look at pictures of your grandmother. Big Mama never started to exist that much. Only big black woman you had was the ones who work in the kitchen. But the average black woman wasn't like that. And so she and her man was willing to work together. But when you start look outside now, they start compare and contrast. And they start saying black men are shit. When most black men I know work and work hard. Most black men not selling drugs. Most black men not pimping. Most black men not hustling. But the pimpers and the hustlers and the drug sellers and the rappers get pushed to the pinnacle.
Yeah, I see what Cory says also, but the pay is too low, and you didn't discuss the wages. But yeah, the working class in America is underpaid, brother.
What the hell?
Y'all crazy, right? Maybe I can tie that in, Sheriff. Let me try to tie let me tie that in, right? Because let me say this: the pimps and the drug dealers, right? It seems like they making more money than the working man. Maybe that's why they get pushed to the front. Is that what you're saying, James?
Can I stop you here? You're
go ahead.
A small percentage of society, brother. All right, a very small percentage. I mean, I've heard people on this panel even discuss business like this, but to me, it's like, listen, there was a time. I'll give you a story, and you see what I'm saying. There was a time when Air Jamaica would be coming into Miami, and listen, the goods is in the commissary carts. Now I'm talking aviation here, airline, okay, flag carriers, some countries, international flights, and then the crew at Miami would load the commissary cart that they served the food, and when you had their service with food, but they still have these carts fit in the compartment nicely. But this is how the trade was coming over on legal transportation. Now, when people standing on the corner or whatever's going on the block talking about shit like that, I'm saying it's not that much business going on like that you could say they're being pushed to any point over a certain thing in society. The drug business in society can only hit a certain height when you're looking down from this vantage point right here. I don't know why you're looking up to it.
And James, you're wrong.
Yeah, James, listen.
No, let me tell you.
I tried to tie it in.
Please,
let
me
together as best I could, but now
James,
I can't. You on your own.
Let me say this
Go
to
ahead,
James. Kim Kardashian. Would you say that she has changed the world? Would you say that Kim has changed the world? A lot of people undermine this girl and her mother.
No, you have to ask me twice. No.
And that you're wrong with. Kim has changed the world. Kim has changed the outlook of millions of women worldwide.
I'm looking at the world, man. Kim ain't changed no world, man. That look changed nothing.
Okay.
It's got hookers like that a dime a dozen.
Okay. Okay, if you said that, this is what
let's keep the rails. Let's stay in the rails here. Sorry, y'all.
Okay. Let me tell you why.
That's that good shit. But now let's stay in the rails here. Now we're talking about black men being the ones, right, who work their hard. Well, who work hard, right? They work very, very hard, and they are the ones who are making America function, right? As far it now, I'm saying this is my anecdotal experience, right?
No,
And I'm saying
it's a point well taken, Cory. All I was doing was mentioning the wages involved with the very same thing you're talking about. Hard working,
right? That's an issue.
The country.
I'm not gonna say that's not an issue, but I think that's a different conversation.
Concern us. Wages never concern the black family. Survival did, and they were doing it well.
Black men and salary don't even matter now. I don't know about that mentality. I think you better think it through.
So what I think what Stu Pease is saying is on the basic level, like black people can thrive, right? On a basic level, right? We tend to be the ones to thrive the best, right? Fundamentally, right? Now when it comes to the way that this society is set up, right? I don't think is fit to survive or thrive in the way that black people best thrive, right? I don't think the system is fit for that. So we find ourselves having to do things a little bit different, right? At least that's my experience. But yeah, so y'all saying I'm not wrong with that. I'm not far off with that. With the point that black men, right, is.
No, I agree. I agree with
okay.
I agree with it. Yeah, the work I call them the working class. It's throughout the country. I've traveled the country. We see them. And
yeah, you travel. You travel quite a bit, right? Yeah. So as an aviator, as a pilot, right? So when you out, like let's say you in the airport, you did your flight or whatever, and then now you chilling for a minute before you do you take off again, and you go out and you do whatever in the service business, right? Who's serving you, right, out there in that service business there, in the service industry rather?
Well, first of all, your description, my profession is not. I train people to do what you just described, and between flight, it's got to be legal rest. It's got working rules and all of that. I know you don't know what you're talking about. I know the analogy is meant to do something, but what I'm saying is, I do agree with you that we have a working black population in the United States of America. But I don't agree that the drug pusher is just because it's viewed in a certain way, and it's commonly known in our culture, in Black and Africanized culture in the United States, doesn't mean that it's all the way up, brother.
What?
See,
can I rebut that, please? This is the last time I'm going to talk on this. Let me rebut that, because James,
yeah,
black families in the 40s and 50s. If we can compare black families in America to modern people that exist now, I would compare them to the Mennonites. Anybody here know who the Mennonites are? They're a specific religious order. They don't work with the system. Because black families in the 40s and 50s.
You mean Western Pennsylvania, Ohio, Mennonites?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar. And you're bringing
the bank to whatever was existing, they became self-sufficient. Yes, Mennonites. Black families in the 40s.
They are offshoot of the Amish.
Yeah. We got a big Amish community here. It's called Amish Acres. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the Mennonites, they are offshoot of them, and they they accept all type of people, Black people, everybody. They are offshoot of them. But go ahead.
I get quite a bit of work from Amish people. I get some, they do a lot of building, right? But they don't do the concrete part a lot of the time.
But Black families, let me finish what I'm saying before we get sidetracked. Black families in the 40s and 50s were comparable to those people, hardworking people, successful people who build communities.
Yep.
People who, although they were fashionable, people who didn't make the fashion the outcome. Fashion was just a means. They wear the nice suits, go to church, and most of the other times they have on the working clothes. That was what Black people in America was in the 40s and 50s. Black people who didn't have access to banking still had homes, still had farms, still had cars. You need to look at it and say, I might talk like a blackologist sometime, because I compare and I contrast. And you look at it and say, what happened between then and now? These people weren't rich people.
My grandfather was one of them. Yeah. My grandfather was one of those people. Go ahead.
You talk about your grandfather all the time. Your grandfather was a hardworking Black man who did what he did, and his family, that you had large families and everybody was eating. People talking about they came from families of 10 people.
Would you compare your grandfather to a Mennonite?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say he was just, I would say he was compared. Now, I mean, obviously we had electricity and shit like that, right?
Many of y'all. I'm taking all of y'all on tonight.
No, what a Mennonite does is they take some aspects of the Amish. They drive cars, right? And they do, but they're a little more modern than
I'm more familiar with the Amish than I am the Mennonites. No, but the Amish, they do horse and buggy still.
We're not comparing Black people to the
Mennonites. Cannot be compared to Mennonites. I'm going with this right.
He's talking about how they're separate from the rest of society,
right?
And how African Americans, because of segregation and racism, was separate. Right, but still thrived in their niche. That's all he's saying, yo.
That's all I'm saying.
That's the comparison that he's making. But go ahead, James.
Way out.
Starting off.
Am I making a wrong? Anybody?
No, you good. You good, Stupid. Go ahead.
Yeah, because Black people at the time was hardworking, self-sufficient, and segregation. No, when you look at a lady boy, a transvestite, come up now and criticizing Black man and don't talk about the history of Black men in the United States. Right? And let's be honest.
That was terrible. Yeah, that was terrible.
Right. That's why I went back all the way back in
and the thing is, and I'm glad I did not realize that this person was a trans person, right?
Because he is a man that was bashed the men.
Yeah, but it was a sister on there too. It was a sister on there.
It was look here. One of them is a man hater, Cynthia G, who hate Black men.
Who y'all talking about? Jesse Peterson?
No. Cynthia G, who hate Black men, and this woman who was a man, who decided to say, I don't like Black men. And then they had the ambush Dr. Umar.
Yeah.
Peterson is a Tanti man. Jesse Peterson he's a Bati man.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Sosa and Cory, my man, Pan-African, just joined the panel. And he beat y'all up the other night.
And I know he don't want to talk about no motherfucking, Pante man, right? I know James ain't like, it's a double James on here now, and we cutting that short.
Yeah, well, we ain't. That's not what we talking about. We talking about the overall point. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. We I don't care about if I'm not talking about Jesse Lee Peterson here. What we talking about is and like I was saying, I'm glad I didn't know that this person was trans, right? Because not because I can judge the comments fairly, right? You know what I'm saying? So they was basically spewing those same tropes, you know what I'm saying, that somehow we ended up growing up with. And my question is like, where did that start? Like, how did that? It must have been a point, and this is what I was asking. I think I was asking Sosa earlier on the Discord. I get things all mixed up now. I don't know whether we be on Discord or YouTube or the iPhone. What the fuck's going on, right? But I asked the question though. When did it become this thing that black men was the deadbeats and the drug dealer? It must have been a time, and I must have missed it, right? But it must have been a time where it was somehow our community was overwhelmed with the deadbeats and shit like that. What time period was that? Or can I tell? When was the beginning of this? Where did this start here? You know what I'm saying?
Starting now, it's continuing now. It's an overstatement.
Yeah, okay. I know it's definitely continuing, but like, how did we get? Because I'm as growing up all through my life. I mean, through my teenage years, through my adulthood, through my childhood, black men have been doing the same thing, working hard and raising a family. And so, like, I'm trying to figure out. Well, when was this? When was this, or was I in the dark? Right? Because I could have very well been. Right?
Yeah, you really was.
American.
Okay.
You also as black men, brother.
What the hell going on, Cory? Where the hell you been at?
That all
see now I could be in the dark. That's what I'm saying. Hold on, James. Let's airplane, James. Hold on for 1 second here. 1 second here. We because you're breaking up, first of all, and second of all, I'm trying to finish my statement. Then Pan-African James got a statement, right? I think I was James, Pan-African. I think I was in the dark. So because you saying it was a point where black men was deadbeats. Now go ahead, go ahead and elaborate on that.
Well, it's not on us to be deadbeats. It's the system that made the deadbeat, right? See, but you may not agree with that, but I've been watching a systematic attack since I got on the planet. So I'm trying to figure out where the hell you've been at, because I know I've been on the planet before crack came into the community. And I watched what that did in the early 80s to the mid 90s, how that just decimated my community. Also, you'd have to go back earlier than our era, but you got brothers that's older than us that talk about the indoctrination with the Superfly movies and how they did the cocaine and put that after the civil rights movement. See, they did stuff to us after the civil rights movement, so we was fighting ever since the civil rights movement. What was that shit about? That wasn't about nothing?
No, I'm not. I think you're having kind of two different arguments.
Yeah. Maybe I'm coming in late, so let me mute out and see what you're talking about.
Me about
that was a good point, though.
At first, I thought he was leading to something, Sheffrin. He was making good points, but then he ended up somewhere.
I just go with the chronology of what's been happening since I've been on the planet.
I definitely.
This what's been going on since I've been on the planet.
That.
Now, what happened before I got on the planet, I read a book. But since I've been on the planet, this what's been going on. So go ahead.
Yeah, so
It never happened.
Sheffrin thinks you made. Go ahead, Sheffrin. What points did you agree with?
New York.
Tie it in, Sheffrin, for me. Tie it in for me.
Hold on.
I used
Airplane
to have
James was
crack dealers selling in front of my house, from trying to sell from right under my shady tree. We had in our crib.
Airplane James. Listen, bro. Hold on, man. We gotta stay in the rails, airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Sheffrin's gonna tie because I wanna. This is my new thing here. I'm the clarification police, right? I'm gonna make sure we stay on the rails, right?
All right, but keep this clear.
Now, Sheffrin, hold on, James.
Just
Sheffrin thinks that he can tie in what James was saying. Hopefully, he ain't forgot what he was saying by now, because if he was me, like, I would have forgot by now. But go ahead, Sheffrin. Tie it in for me. Tie what James was saying in for me.
well, the put it in a nutshell. Both of y'all are right. He's just mentioning the other aspect of it, right? Like the same way you saying your whole life you've always seen Black men working and being productive in society. But on the flip side, you do know brothers who fuck up and do the other shit. So I think James is speaking to, like, how did you not see the ones that, you know what I mean, is influenced by all of the negativity also. You feel me? But with the Superfly movies and all of that, like, that's definitely a part of our society. And, you know, that Black exploitation film, it pushed more negative stereotypes of Black men that we started, that was starting to be emulated and heroized in our community. Superfly, for example, right? Superfly became some type of hood hero, right, in the 70s, which is crazy because he was a pimp and a drug dealer, right? So the fact that Black people, you know, he sniffed cocaine and, you know, he had all of the women, he sold drugs, he beat the police up. You dig what I'm saying? All of it. I mean, it became like, you know,
the thing to do.
Some niggas, so y'all said some niggas forgot to go to work and took the movie literal, right?
This is because that's how you indoctrinate somebody. But you act like that ain't a weapon.
No, that's a great point, and I see how you tying it in. Now.
Yeah,
I definitely see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to be cognizant with all the weaponry, because see, they ain't got to put a gun to you. They'll indoctrinate you, and you'll be putting a gun to yourself. Ain't that some cold shit? So we got. I mean, and they did it to us. See, because I know I'm 53. So I remember when there wasn't no gangs in Texas. Then next thing you know, Boys in the Hood came out. Hold on.
But James, I don't want to veer the conversation off, right? Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
I hear you. Those are great points. I'm not saying that's what you said and how Sheffrin tied that in. That was a great point, right? And let's address that. That's what I want to address right there, right? So we got we got a point in time. There's a point in time, right? And I think we pointing to the crack era here, right? Where we got these movies, we got Superfly, Boys in the Hood, and what have you, the likings of it. We got NWA, Coogee Rap, and this thing, right? And I'm gonna say, this is what I'm gonna say, right? I'm gonna say, I saw that, I was a part of that. I got caught up. I was one that got caught up in that. That desolated my community. It damaged. It caused irreparable damage in my immediate family, right? The whole crack epidemic, right, caused irreparable damage in my immediate family. You know what I'm saying? And I saw my cousins get caught up and still caught up in that, right? Like I said, myself, my friends, and all of that, right? They all got caught up in that, right? But through the whole thing, right? Through the whole thing, not one of them left their family, right? Not one of them can be considered what we would call some deadbeat dad or none of that shit, right? Every one of them that got caught up either way, like most of them, like most of my friends and family, right, were drug dealers, right? Now, my mom was a drug addict, right? So that's how the crack era affected my immediate family, right? Now, I had a couple of uncles that dabbled, but then they got out of that, right? But through the whole thing, right, they were family men, right? They did what they did, right? But they took care of their family. Family was first. You see what I'm saying? But that's just what I saw. You know what I mean? So I understand what y'all saying, right? But I think people got the wrong idea, and I think a lot of women, right? It seems like the women. This is what I'm gonna say.
I didn't want to
Seems
touch
like
that, Cory. Cory, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. It's a
no,
no-win
I'm gonna
argument.
touch it. I'm gonna touch it because
No.
this is the pseudo killers, right? And we gonna touch things, right?
Listen,
It seemed like those women. This is what I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna give it away. I'm gonna let y'all have it. It seems like those women have experienced bullshit niggas, right? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say it ain't no bullshit niggas. Right? No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not no bullshit. It ain't no bullshit deadbeat ass niggas, right? But I'm saying it seems like that trans person in that Cynthia G lady, right? And it seems like it's a lot of women, right, who experience bullshit niggas and they project that onto all the rest of the black niggas, right? But the nigga, the poster nigga, right? The dream nigga, right? Is the bullshit nigga, right? They want the rap nigga, the chain wearing nigga, right? This is the nigga that they looking for, right? The nigga that's driving the UPS truck, the nigga that got the lawnmower equipment on the back of his pickup truck with his trailer and shit, right? The motherfucker driving the city bus, right? That ain't the nigga. That ain't the nigga on the commercial. You see what I'm saying? So you end up, hold on, I'm almost done. You end up making all those niggas, all those hardworking niggas, right, pay for what you experience with the bullshit nigga. But I'm done. I'll stop there.
Let me rebut you, Cory. Let me add to a rebut here. You know that, all right, 25%, if you look at statistics, and Kevin Samuels first said this, and then I looked it up myself. I don't know where to find it now. But 25% of black men.
And I'm not saying all women, just for the record, but go ahead.
You would never say that. And you never generalize like that. I don't take it like that. Anybody who take it like that don't understand. Earlier, I made some statement. I said Kim Kardashian changed the world in terms of how some women look at themselves. But before Kim, it was there, but it wasn't so prominent. But what happened now is that these persons these bullshit persons, if you go in the black community, if you go in our community, if you go in the Jamaican community, is the same Negro have 10 baby mother. If you take him out of America, and you take him out of Africa, and you take him out of Jamaica, and you put those 3 niggas together, they are the same exact niggas having 10 baby mothers. And they're not forcing nobody to have babies for them. These women are attracted to these Negroes. Right? It's the same nigga.
I feel that. And I understand what Cory said also, but let me provide some balance. There was a 30-year captain for TWA, like right when I was getting hired and soon after military service in the early 90s. It's a 30-year captain. He was probably captain for a pretty long time. He was employee for a pretty long time. He used to be senior enough to get the Cairo JFK route, where it's got 72-hour layovers and stuff like that. Well, one day, Customs, and this is before 9/11, Customs stopped him in JFK returning from his flight, big boss, probably making about $200,000-300,000 a year just flying, right? And in his flight bag was his loaded down business of opium and smack, right? So needless to say, he lost his pension, then jail time and all of that, right? So the balance, you get what the balance is. You're talking about how about his wife that chased him down because he was straight laced? You understand? So I'm just trying to put some balance. I don't want to inject
that
it.
Made no sense.
Man, I don't see why y'all can't.
James,
but
you done been in that
this-
cabinet.
I mean,
You done been in
wanted
that
to-
cabinet, James.
Hold on,
Again.
I wanted to say something about what Cory was saying, or what Stu Pease was saying about Kim Kardashian's influence. Now, I would say that she did have a major influence on the inner.
I never said anything about Kim Kardashian.
No, I said Stu Pease.
Oh, okay.
He said that she was a major influence, and I would agree in the fact that she was one of the people that helped kind of usher in it was okay for maybe high standard or regular European men to date black men. That's what I think that was about. But you start looking around the early 2000s, that started to become something. And and that's the type of stuff I be wanting to understand. Like, why do they push stuff like that now? It seems like that's an agenda. And then you would have to ask yourself, why are they doing it? And especially when they do this, they do it with black and white. If you notice it, they don't really hardly mix it up and kind of do. It's kind of more so they trying to mix the black race with somebody else in America anyway. But y'all ever ask questions like that?
But he was talking about drug dealers, and I just mentioned a story that could add some balance. And it's funny how you guys can't correlate the two circumstances. It's weird. But
your pilot, why your circumstance don't work is that your pilot was a pilot. Your pilot was a pilot. He was 30 years a pilot. He was a good money working pilot. His reason for selling drugs is totally different than
drugs. And he was
but his reason is totally different than most people's reason. He shouldn't be selling drugs. That's why that story didn't catch on.
So no matter what echelon in society, there's going to be a percentage that's going to be fucking with that shit. And to say that they're elevated or anything, would you say that pilot was elevated in my professional community?
Hold on, let me ask you this, James. Hold on, let me ask James this. You said you the one that said that he was making $300,000 and something a year and he was balling.
Yeah, flying. I said,
hold on. This is what you said, James. Hold on.
I said he was.
You interjected that into the comment. So I'm gonna ask you this: do you think what he did was dumb?
Of course.
Yeah.
Now hold on. Let's put it in the other contract. You got somebody with no education selling drugs, and that's their only way to really just try to get to the type of money that he got. You see, they have incentive to do that. What he did was just straight dumb. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just straight stupidity. Man,
it's the ends don't.
So what is the point?
Listen to me. Listen. Hold up. The ends don't justify the means on any level. What are you saying?
Because you have never been hungry. That's why you can't say that. When somebody has never been hungry, they can't say the ends don't justify the means. You
Listen,
have never woken. No,
I
stop.
born
You have
in
never
church.
woken up in the morning. You have never
And,
woken up in the morning
and
and
while I
there's
may,
nothing in the fridge and nothing in the
while
cupboard.
I may never been a lot of things. Listen,
No.
while I went through
When people say the ends don't justify the means, they have never been
Bible
hungry.
training.
Hungry produce theft. Hold on, let's do this. Back up. Hunger produce theft and robbery. That's what hunger produce. Greed breeds drug dealers.
Okay, all right.
So
So
two different modus operandi.
But with the people Cory described, there's no greed involved.
No, I'm saying greed breeds drug dealers, right?
No,
Hunger
I'm gonna tie it back again.
Hunger produces people stealing, right, and robbery. That's a hunger-related issue. When you're hungry, you'll go out and steal something. When you greedy, right, you'll go out and sell drugs.
I feel
That's
you,
my
man.
point.
You're right.
No, I would say it's not everybody who starts selling drugs start big. When you reach a certain level, it's pure greed. But an entrance level drug dealer, half of the time is not greed. It might be envy.
Yeah, envy, right?
Necessity. I mean, I just seen some of the most people in some of the harshest places, living in some of the most harsh conditions, and they turn to doing some of the most egregious things that you would have never thought that they would ever do, based on poverty and being miseducated. Mm-hmm. So this is just, I think that I don't think that we're doing this to each other based on being just so knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? It's a miseducation program that feeds off, then they kick you out into the streets, and then, you know, as Black males, they attack us soon as we get 15, 14, 15. They start pulling you over while you walking and checking. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole program and situation we've been dealing with that we really be missing.
And Cory thinks the women are after the greediest niggas. That's all it is.
Well, that's the social construct that we've been indoctrinated with. Like, I mean, we all see what's going on. It went back to the Superfly day. The guy with the Cadillac and the money.
All the
women want.
I say it's a false assessment.
Well, let me say this, and I don't want it because it's not exactly. I'm not saying exactly. I'm saying that, but not exactly that, right? So women, right? Women have a tendency to naturally, right, look for security, right, and
see, and that ain't the shit, is it? Is it? I
say what?
Of the 30-year pilot, because that ain't the securest shit. Now, is it?
Yeah, that's very secure.
Yeah,
You probably got some kind of pension plan and
news for you. The best women ain't after them niggas. Okay.
No, you absolutely right. That's exactly right.
Hold up, yeah, they is. You gotta be handsome and attractive too. They just don't. If you was handsome and attractive, they would want to get with you too. Cut that out.
I said this earlier.
The handsome part is a little bit different, right?
You know what I'm saying? Genetics, women like nice looking men. Like, what the hell do you mean?
Yeah,
you was a pilot because they don't want a
do.
pilot because they're a pilot. Yeah, they do. You just can't be no ugly a person that they don't want to get with. But if you're attractive, they'll want to.
Well,
like, what's wrong?
Yeah,
women date all kind of.
Listen, as long as you level. As long as you level decking, long decking it, you all right. All right.
There you go.
There's a retention. There's a retention. You can get the women, but there's a retention factor. You ain't laying it ain't happening.
There you go. There you go.
That's not really true either. That's not really true either.
Well, I don't know.
Listen. You say if a woman feeling you,
I'm
you
talking
don't
about
have to be
right now. I don't know about the mother.
I would not go in that way because
I
that's not
don't
really
want to
true.
veer it off. I
We're not
don't
veering
want
to
to
that.
veer it
I
off.
think
Go
this is why I
ahead.
get off that.
No, get off that. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
I'm out, bro.
That transvestite dude. Let's go back to the transvestite because that was the original argument. That transvestite dude opinion of black men is based on what he has seen or expressed in his environment over the last 30 years, because he's about 30 years old. We look at society now and we realize that anybody in this room that is over 50 cannot understand where this explosion of black gay men come from. Because when we were in our teens, we weren't seeing so much of them. We had one and two in our communities, yes? But when you go in our communities,
Social pressure. It's a
30
social
years later, let me finish. 30 years later, it's almost an explosion where a state like Georgia is known as the black gay capital of America. That you're not sure if the person you're talking to straight or gay. And then elevated to the level where black men now saying that they don't feel like men anymore. And they blame, and they say, I don't want to be that person that I saw in my community. I don't want to be that person who my mother had sex with and produced me. I want to be me. I want to be different. So he blames the black man for him feeling incomplete and not wanting to be a black man. He does not recognize that is not a everybody problem. That's his problem that he needs to deal with. But because he wasn't equipped with the tools necessary to deal with the problem as a child, he went into that direction where I don't want to be that person. And many of us try our best not to be that person who we didn't like. If many black men who some become abusive, but most become beta males who women can now say you are not supposed to hit a woman regardless of what she does. So you're with a woman now who will come and slap you across your face, but if you hit her back, you're abusive. When back in the day, grandmothers know that you don't hit grandfathers. You don't play that game because a man is a man.
I know my grandfather,
A man is a man.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's when you in somebody else's house or up on somebody else's rules. Because see, we are not setting the rules. So they legalized homosexuality. They made the laws where you I think it was that guy that got hung in the fence, the white guy, somewhere. I don't forget what it might have been in Indiana, Illinois. He was Ohio or something, where he was in a barbed wire fence. They killed the gay guy and they made a law. What was that law they made in the 90s where you couldn't do anything to homosexuals? But that wasn't never our thing anyway. But most of the time, we wouldn't even mess with homosexuals. We see them, we just don't talk to them, and that was it.
That's what I'm saying, James. It sounds like they can't tell when they see a homo, and I don't even want to sound homophobic.
No. This new thing they got where they dressing up, we didn't even see that back then. Nobody wouldn't. We didn't see no transvestite like that. We didn't even. I don't even know if we even knew what that word was back then. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff is new. But back in our day, it was just straight gay people. You could tell like they was gay and they might act, you know what I'm saying, act gay, but they wouldn't try to push up on you and they would stay with, where they was at. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You would just leave them alone. We wasn't killing, if I see him, I'm going to start calling him a fag or something like that. We wasn't even doing it.
Yeah.
It was just a regular, if you gay, just stay the hell away. That's all we was doing. You know what I'm saying? But now they came up with extra laws like we was, I don't know, somebody was killing them or something. All these protective laws. So now you can't even say gay. Excuse my language. You can't even say anything about because you see, you already being programmed that we can't even talk about this subject in this type of way online. They might even strike this for us even saying this.
Yo, I don't
think. How deep this
I don't think they
for a couple of weeks and then
I'm telling you, bro, it's that deep.
Like, that shit ain't happening. It sounds like it's happening with, is that what's happening? Cory, what happened? You want to get it off your chest, man. Did something happen, man? Were you kicking it with this person and then you find out it was a transvestite? Is this where this is going? Get it off your chest,
James. I don't know where I don't know. Like I said, you've been in that cabinet, man. You need to stay out of that cabinet, right?
No. It's not a cabinet. James, let's be honest. James, Listen, although you have been all around the world, what I've gathered from you is that you have always existed in a protective bubble. You speak like somebody who's always in a protective bubble. You were in the,
I'm from Trinidad.
you were
What you
in the
talking
bubble of
about?
the army
I'm
where you
from
were
Trinidad,
indoctrinated, and you came out of the army and you went into civilian life, semi-civilian army life, and you were always protected. You were always middle class. You have moved out to the ghetto a long time. You're a middle class black man, and I appreciate that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a middle class black man who lives good,
You don't know
lives
me.
the dream, who
You
lives the dream.
insult me with some middle class comment. What the fuck is
No,
this?
no, but it's
You live
true.
in the you live in the
You live
in
the
the
dream.
American dream.
What
You
the
you
You live the
you the
American
other
dream.
version of American dream,
This
James.
middle shit.
Since you were 20, since you joined the army at 18, you have always been in a protective bubble.
Said
I
it
know
on
that.
the previous show. You know the mainstream? You talking like I'm in it. I'm surfing on the motherfucker. So you got me all wrong.
You have lived the dream. And guess what? I have no problem with it because I want more black people to live the dream. My sister lives the dream. She lives in Connecticut in $1 million house in a neighborhood with 2 black people. It looked like a postcard. Our house looked like the postcards that you see. That's where she lives.
I tried to build something in Trinidad just for so.
No, but nothing wrong with that. You live in the dream. Many immigrants come up here and live the dream. But the problem with living the dream with many people is that the dream put on blinkers on your eyes. You know what blinkers are? Blinkers are what they put on racehorses to prevent them from straying into the other horse lane. So they only look directly ahead.
They put blinkers on donkey cart too. You know that.
Huh?
They put blinkers on donkey cart too.
Yes, but just on horses, donkeys, but so they don't stray. You have been indoctrinated with the blinkers in the army.
Nah.
But it is what
But
it
I was
is. There's nothing wrong with it. There's
My
nothing wrong with it because
clear.
everybody cannot do the same thing. 10 brothers, 10 different minds.
Not like homie that said, my vision is clear. Who says,
Hey, but
course,
hold on.
straight ahead.
Where's Sosa? Where's Sosa at? I had made Sosa the host, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Sosa, if you out there, if you're still there, buddy, we're gonna be ending the show pretty soon.
Yeah.
So hopefully Sosa is out there. Unless he want to continue or Sheffrin want to continue. But we're gonna be winding it down here.
Winding it down. No, because trust me, concrete. This is what I'm saying to you, concrete. Let me finish. This is what I'm saying to you. Our people have been indoctrinated, and it's hard as you as a black man who have been through the trenches and now on the rise to live in the dream, which is good because you are living the dream what your mother wanted for you. When your mom is still, although she have her problem, she's happy. When your auntie see you, they're happy because they realize that you are one of few who made it. There's nothing wrong with making it, That is what we want for our children. We want our children to be blissfully ignorant of the trials and tribulation that we went through. We want our children to get up in the morning and open the door of the refrigerator and cannot decide what to eat. Have choices that I want our children to say, when I finish high school, I'm going to college. Without thinking what it takes to go to college. That is what black people dream is. Black people dream is not to have them sons turn into daughters and them daughters turn into sons and to bash the fathers. It's to live the dream to be more successful than I was. Every generation better than the last. That is what black people dream has always been.
I don't oppose any of your points. I was just
and they want grandkids too.
What you're saying,
put that out there.
What you're saying to me is the problem. See, Cory already said I sound white. You saying I was protected. I'm a black man in the Americas, in the new world, man. I came to New York at 10 years old in 1969 from Trinidad. All right. I don't know. Listen, the battle I fought, I like it. I mean, I like my history. I like how I navigated. But no, it's not impossible. I mean, it's not impossible.
How many years did you spend in the army? How many years did you spend in the army? How many years you had the protection of the uniform?
Contract.
How many years did you spend in the army and had the protection of the uniform? You spend
That
minimum 20 years in the army. So
No,
you
what
came out of the army when you were 40.
I did.
Listen,
I am not opposing you. I said I'm not
I'm
opposing.
not saying you were in a bubble. I've not lied. Listen, I used to be a street dude and I turned a nerd because the street is fucked
Well,
up.
the person.
Right? I know
The person
I
you
know the
described.
streets.
The person you described would take. I would take contracts to go to Djibouti. I listen. All through my career, all of these opportunities after
But you were protected.
right?
You could take those opportunities
I
because you were in
could,
a protected
but what I'm
environment.
saying is
Accept it and move on. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not bashing you for it. I'm celebrating you. There's nothing wrong with you navigating the perils and became successful. You had a launching pad. The army protected you. You were not a greedy dude.
It's not
You were
army. I was
There's
Navy.
nothing wrong with it.
Sarah, man. I'm not army. All right.
Huh?
Not
Air
army.
Force. What I want to be Army, Air Force.
We beat army. I was a Navy
All right.
man.
See the indoctrination coming out.
Navy man. All right. That's what that is. You know.
But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you coming out of a protective cocoon and allowed to blossom into the person you are. But at the same time, everybody couldn't take the road that you take. People had made mistakes. I'm not bashing the people who made mistakes. I'm not bashing people who made wrong turns.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, man. The dealers was right on the corner. The dealers
Of
was right
course.
Kingston and Pacific, Brooklyn, New York. That's the corner.
Yeah, but through all that, like, and this is my point for the whole thing, though, right? Through all that, right? The black men, all of the shit that we done been through, right? We still been fathers, right? And we still been hard workers through the crack era, through the oppression, through the
area, through the crash, through
the
racism and white supremacy. Black men have always been protective and protectors and providers. Majority of black men have always been. But how many of us embrace a crackhead mother, our crackhead father? How many times? Everybody in here know that my father was a crackhead. I've said it a million times.
But what makes you think that the military protected me, though? What makes you think? Listen, I said I'm a black man in the new world.
Okay, the military offer you a platform. The beautiful thing about the military is that the military became home for you. And how you speak about it, I am not lying, it becomes home for you. When a child or a young man have a home, he's allowed to scrape his leg and come back home. And so he can take more chances because the military allows you to take chances.
About it. I don't speak everything about it. First of all,
Cory, do you understand what I'm saying?
James, we don't want to veer off. I understand. I hear you. But I understand what you're saying, Stu P. But and that's my point, right? Through all of that, through the redlining, through the Jim Crow, through all that shit, right? Black men have been there struggling with that ball and chain on their ankle, right?
Protecting and providing.
And making America what it is today. You know what I'm
Cory,
saying?
let me ask you this question. Yeah. When the problem arises, as soon as outside influence came into our community through the television screen, where many black women start comparing and contrasting the average black man they have. The average black man wasn't good enough. The average black man wasn't good enough anymore in the community. And it became a problem. When average become a bad thing, everybody acting like no. So the black man now acting like he's a 10 because he's buying all of this foolishness, this stupid clothes, this stupid jewelry that somebody, you're in a Waffle House with junk jewelry on, and somebody come and kill you over jewelry. Somebody come and rob you over the jewelry that you have on.
You see what Stu Pease is talking about is that same indoctrination that's got us messed up. See, so like we, for some reason or another, and I think it's that it has to be, because I remember when I was young, I said, I'm not like, see, you concrete Cory, so you work, so what are you, a supervisor now? Or you actually lay concrete? You out there just like every day like Mexicans. Hold on, let me ask you, out there like these Mexicans in Texas that do the concrete and all that. That's what you doing.
I do I put my hands on everything, but I'm the superintendent of the concrete division for my company. Yeah.
So you don't actually really go out there like the workers.
No, I actually work. Yes, I not only do I work for my company, but I do my own business, right? My own personal business. But see, I have a unique skill, so it's not not everybody can do what I do. So even though I'm a superintendent, I still have to work. But go ahead.
So you went to school for this, Cory? This is just something you picked up and learned from like your people.
Well, I learned the fundamentals from my grandfather, right? From working for my grandfather. But yeah, I went to school. I went to trade school.
So see, you are almost an anomaly around in certain people's neighborhoods. I'm talking about somebody that would be really like a black person around here. I'm just talking about what I see in construction sites in Texas. We don't see black people in construction. Now we'll see them in a concrete truck or something like that, or like a supervisor, like what you are, I would guess. But we don't see them as exactly like with
come up around the Chicago area, right? And you got to get with union. When you get to the union, you start seeing black men running the shit, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying they be at the upper levels. They don't be the actual workers that's out there. But what I'm saying is,
they be both. I mean, if you do what I do, right? See, I organize. So as a superintendent, right, of the concrete division, that job entails organizing the men power, right? So we have, for my company, right, is a corporation. It's a big company. And so you got multiple job sites going on at one time. So someone needs to coordinate what they need on that job site as far as the what we call finishers, the finishers, right? That's what we call cement masons on the job site, right? We call them finishers, right? So someone who can understand, who can assess the job, right, is what I do, and understand the materials and the manpower that's needed. And a lot of times, so my foreman, right, they'll be able to do a lot of that, right, too. But ultimately, it's on me for that job site to run smoothly, right? If the job don't run smoothly, ultimately it's on me. But the foreman is a competent person too on the job. He's just as qualified as me, right?
So
but I just happen to be his boss, right?
Would your position be above
I'm
the foreman?
above the foreman. Yeah, the foreman actually works for me.
You ain't talking about what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people with the long sleeve shirts in 100-degree weather with the big rubber boots on, standing in concrete.
Yeah, I'll be out there. You be in the concrete. Yes,
I need motherfucking documentation. I need to see that.
I was just giving you one. Listen.
I don't believe.
I was giving you one aspect of my job, right? That's one aspect. I'm an organizer or coordinator, right? That's my superintendent position. But as my unique skill, right? When we do big floors, like 70,000 square feet, right? And you're talking about 1,000 yards of concrete, which is like 100 concrete trucks, right? And we do those pours in one day. And so it has to be a big machine that's called a laser screed, and then it's a trowel machine, right? And I have to, because I have the skill to run those machines, right? And not just me, but it's other people, but we have to have multiple people running those machines, right? But everybody can't run, ain't qualified and don't have the skill to run those machines, right? And so I have to go out there and I have to run those machines. But during those times that when I'm running the machine, I also get out there and pull that stick, like that screed board, what you talking about, out there with them boots and shit. I be doing that. And not only that, I do that every day because I run my own business. You see what I'm saying? So I'm in that concrete. I get dirty. I get dirty every day. Every
Yeah, man, if you got your
I get
own
dirty.
business, I feel you on that. But I'm just talking about
grandfather was
the other supervisor. But
Yeah, but
you ain't.
even at my corporate, even at the corporation I work for, I get dirty every day. Yes, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But see, that's good. See, that's a good example because see, like me, when I was coming up, I was like, man, I ain't doing no kind of that shit. Look like slave.
Let me say this, man.
That was the mentality they had put in my head that anything got in the sun, that's like slavery to me. That was my mindset.
Yeah, that's it. But what it is
fucked up.
it's
I'm looking
building
back
and
30 years now,
maintaining
that's
the
a fucked up
infrastructure.
mindset. But that was my mindset. I wanted to work inside.
Brother, it wasn't easier for me, brother. It was harder. It's how you navigate.
I have never said it was easy.
There they go.
I said you were in a protective environment. Easy and protective.
Yes, 2Ps ain't lying though.
I did not say it was easy.
So hold up. So I'm getting the background on Brother James here. So what Stu Pease is saying that you just spent 40 years in the military and you've been kind of sheltered away from neighborhood activities, so to speak.
No, but I came up in Brooklyn.
Okay, and he thrived as a result of it. Concrete Cory might not talk it to them, but Concrete Cory have a pretty change put aside, you know. You don't have to ask. If you use the money, you can hear money. Concrete Cory has a change put aside. Don't comment on that, Concrete. That's my assumption. That's my observation.
Yeah, you know, coincidentally, my grandfather.
Right? You have a change put aside. You collected your pension lump sum, and you're now waiting to get your full pension. You put some money aside. There's nothing wrong with it. We celebrate successful black men around here.
That's how money works.
You took a different route than Concrete Cory. Be proud of your route. It's an option that you can share with people. Concrete Cory can share his routes. The route ROUTE he took.
My road is the hard road, though, right? So you wanna be a little bit more smarter than Concrete Cory.
You want to be a James. That's Concrete Cory would tell people, say, be a James, don't be a me. There's nothing wrong with it.
You just want to be just a touch smarter than Concrete Cory.
Don't be ashamed. Be proud of it. I am proud of you. That's what I'm telling you. I am proud of you. You made it out.
In the
There's nothing wrong with it. Don't be ashamed of it. You don't have to be the hard dude. The first time I cut somebody and the blood gushed out, I wasn't going to cut anybody again.
Cory, as a Mason, my grandfather worked 54 years in Ministry of Works.
It wasn't like that with me, Stu Pease. I shot a nigga, boy, and I was like, yeah, I will shoot another nigga in a minute. God damn it. I will, and it's still to this day, I will shoot a nigga.
That's because you in Indiana, and it's like,
before something happened to
James
you,
taking it personal. James, it's not personal. James, you made it. I would put you proudly to my son and say, this is a nice route to take. You have a nice wife, you have a nice family, you have a nice house, you don't have the stresses and pressures. This is a nice route to take. I would put you up as an example. There's nothing wrong with it. Every black man don't have to be in the streets.
If you can do it the way James did it, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
There's nothing wrong with it, James. I'm not bashing you. I'm not questioning your blackness or your hardness. I know that if push comes to shove, you would do anything to protect your family. But there's nothing wrong with the route that you took.
I would to support James though. I know even in the military, it's harder for us than it is for the other kind. So that wasn't just the easy road.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
I'm saying? I gotta interject that because we do know the history of the racism in the military. So, and I don't know what year did you join the military, brother?
I was 17, 1976 for ROTC.
Yeah,
right?
Racism was still rampant. Well, it's still rampant in the military.
Right. After that was ROTC, but after graduation, I was in a 10-year enlistment contract.
10 years.
10-year enlistment, but I wasn't active duty for 10 years. I was an officer, and you got to sign an enlistment contract. So in order to go through the reserve stuff and all of that, sometimes you gotta complete your contract, right?
How much of those contracts did you sign? How many of those contracts you signed?
One. Just a 10-year contract.
And they went into civilian?
Yep. That's right. Because even now they got problems retaining pilots in the military, brother. You know, it's got too much money out here. And it's not the airlines.
Who trained you to be a pilot? The military or you trained privately?
I trained privately, and you missed the earlier part of the show. A brother doubted me, and I tried to tell Ankh he could have souped it up. By December we could have been showing my Bachelor of Science degree in aeronautical science, because he didn't believe that I simply said, I'm an aeronaut, I'm a scientist, and he doubted me on that. So we had to go through all of that. But yeah, in 1976, I got to college 2 weeks after high school graduation, and I started flying because my curriculum was aeronautical science, which has aeronautical studies in it, a lot of safety, a lot of management, and it's got flight technology. It's a curriculum that creates a scientific background, all right? And, that's when I learned to fly.
But
So
yeah,
So hold on,
but
you said
it was
before you went to the military?
you
Before
use
you
that,
went to the
but you don't
military?
use that in your practical. The thing is, James, you have to use it in your everyday life too. Like take what you learned at school and put it in everyday life. Okay,
Exactly.
that's gonna help you out, James. I think you compartmentalize. I think what you be doing is you be compartmentalizing, right? When you get out of school, right, and you get off of work, your science is you put that in a box, right? You put that in a locker with your uniform, right? And you lock it up in the locker.
You just don't care how
Then
long
you
it
come outside, right?
Agreed.
You get off work, right? And then somehow, James, you jump off the deep end. I don't know what's going on there, James.
in on this, you're gonna be all right.
I think what it is you get into that cabinet, right? You you gotta get out of that cabinet, James.
No,
leave that cabinet alone.
When I learned to fly, I had an instructor called Tony DiGirolamo. He was a B-52 pilot, and he knows a lot of us young kids was away from home for the first time. So he gave us the lesson: moderation and self-denial. I know that lesson to this day. Now, yeah, it's got moments in the military where you're going to be praying to your God, the porcelain God, that you ain't never going to do this no more. But I learned years ago not to overindulge, brother. So don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all.
James,
I'm saying you're getting older now,
that was
James,
deep, right
and
there.
you
That was a
can't.
deep reply. I got
But you're getting older now, James, and I think you can't handle what you think you can handle anymore. You know what I'm saying? I think that cabinet is getting the better of you. But I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone.
James, I retract everything I said, and I'm sorry that I offended you. But at no time I question you as a man. I respect you as a man.
No, Jack. I agree with everything you said, Stu Pease. Like you ain't said nothing wrong. Like I ain't hear nothing wrong with you said. Right? James is crazy as hell, man.
Concrete Cory, that's messy. Listen. One of the first things I learned growing up is that you have to assess situation fast. You may be wrong, but your first intuition isn't wrong. Sometimes you go on a job site and you see somebody, and for some strange reason, your spirit tells you, say, look at this, give this person a second look. That's how I learned. Give everybody a second look and watch them and listen. And they will tell you who they are. You don't have to ask anybody who they are. People tell you who they are.
When it comes to the job site, Stu Pease, I can tell when you get out the car. I can tell the way you get out of your truck or your vehicle. I know if you're gonna make it with me or not.
The human marketplace.
It's just the way you get out. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right. Now I'm not saying I'm right every time, but 9 times out of 10, I'm right, bro. I can tell just the way they get out their vehicle. I'll be like, oh no, he ain't gonna make it.
No. Concrete, I was the dude who leave the corner every time just before something go down. Because my intuition, I follow it. I look around and I'm just not feeling right. I say, I soon come and I step away. And most of the time when I step away, shit go down. And people ask me, how you do it? I say, I listen. I feel my environment. You can almost feel when you're being watched. You can almost feel those things. Be observant, listen, and don't afraid to walk away. There's nothing wrong with James. There's nothing wrong with you. You are exemplary. You're a good man.
There's another dynamic. I don't know if you guys are, exposed to that kind of dynamic, but in this business, what I have to do, even still, because I'm not retired yet, but I've got to train white people to fly my way, whether it's airline students or the instructors that teach them under my system. So that's a whole nother dynamic dealing with white America, because you run into attitudes.
So what type of airplanes have you flown? Well, what was the first airplane that you flew?
I flew all kinds of aircraft.
Hey, y'all, I'm about to be out though, but Sosa is the host. Sosa is the host.
Thank you for being.
No, I'm out too.
Thank you for letting me in.
Sosa need to end the show, please, if Sosa can hear me.
All right.
Listen, peace, man. I enjoyed it.
Peace, everybody.
Yeah.
Peace. Dang, man, I think Sosa's asleep, man. This is gonna be ugly. I shouldn't have made him the host. It's my fault. My bad. I thought Sosa usually be the one that don't be sleep. But now he's sleep. So now the show gonna be going on. But I'm gonna say peace. If you can hear me in the show, homie. But I appreciate everybody for coming out. We got Sheffrin on here too. He sleep. But Pseudo Killas in the building, on the rise. A lie will make it halfway around the world before the truth get out of bed and get his pants on, right? So y'all, we already up early getting it up now. So take your ass to sleep. Peace.
Peace.